Hello, dear friends. So glad you could join us at the fiction world. Today's narrative adventure is titled What If Deku Became the Overlord of Pentagram City and Got a Breeding Harem with Rosie, Velvette and all Hazbin hotel girls. We put our heart into every story we share. If you appreciate our work, showing some love with a like and subscribe would make our day. The story begins now. Chapter 1, Green Lightning in Hell. Izuku Midoriya had exactly 3 seconds to realize he was falling before the ground introduced itself at terminal velocity. 1 second, red sky, wrong stars, air that tasted like sulfur and regret. 2 seconds, city below, sprawling and chaotic, buildings that looked like they'd been designed by someone having a very creative nightmare. 3 seconds, oh, this is going to hurt. He hit a rooftop and went straight through it. Then the floor below that. Then another. For stories of some demon's apartment complex became his personal crash landing site, and when he finally stopped moving, he was lying in a crater of shattered concrete and twisted rebar in what used to be someone's living room. A television in the corner, somehow still intact, showed a grinning red face selling used cars. Deku coughed. Dust and debris showered off him as he sat up, checking himself for damage on autopilot. Nothing broken. Nothing bleeding. His body felt different. Charged. Like someone had plugged him into a power outlet and cranked the voltage way past safe limits. What the hell, he muttered, then paused. Looked around at the distinctly hellish aesthetic, the walls that seemed to pulse slightly, the sky visible through the holes he'd made glowing an angry red, the distant sound of screaming that could have been terror or could have been a really enthusiastic party. Oh, he said. Hell. Literally. The last thing he remembered was the fight. The big one. The one where everything went wrong and he'd had to push one for all past every limit he'd ever set just to save them. Everyone. He remembered the light, the pain, the feeling of his body giving out as he poured everything into one final attack. He remembered dying. Okay. Deku stood up, brushing concrete dust off his hero costume, still intact, somehow, the green and black design looking almost absurdly out of place in this red-tinted hellscape. Okay. I'm dead. I'm in hell. That's fine. I can work with this. He could not, in fact, work with this. But saying it out loud helped. Movement in his peripheral vision. Deku spun, one for all activating on instinct, and the power that surged through him nearly knocked him off his feet. It was too much. Way too much. The green lightning that usually crackled across his skin exploded outward in a shockwave that blew out every window in the building and sent the demon who'd been creeping up on him flying through 3 walls. Deku stared at his hands. The lightning wasn't just green anymore. There were threads of red in it now, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Holy crap, he whispered. More movement. Multiple contacts this time, coming from all directions. Deku's analysis kicked in automatically, 7 hostiles, varied sizes, approaching through the holes in the building structure. He could hear them chittering to each other in some language that sounded like gravel in a blender. The first one came through the ceiling. Vaguely humanoid, gray skin, way too many teeth. It lunged at him with claws extended. Deku moved. 5% was his old baseline. Safe, controlled, sustainable. He tried for 5% and got something closer to 50, his body blurring across the room fast enough to leave afterimages. His fist connected with the demon's chest and the demon stopped existing in any meaningful sense, just a spray of black ichor and a wet sound that Deku really didn't want to think about. The other 6 demons stopped their approach. Deku looked at the mess on his fist, then at the remaining attackers. I'm sorry, he said, and he meant it, whatever this thing had been, he hadn't intended to just vaporize it. But I really don't know what's going on, and I'd appreciate it if you could maybe not attack me while I figure things out. The demons exchanged glances. Then they ran. Smart. Deku took a breath, trying to center himself. His quirk, one for all, it was still there. Still his. But it had changed. Grown. The energy felt deeper, wilder, like it had fed on something in the atmosphere of this place and come back hungry for more. He needed information. He needed to understand where he was, what the rules were, and why his power had decided to go absolutely insane. He also needed to get off this rooftop before more demons showed up. Deku jumped. He meant to go to the next building over. He went 6 blocks and nearly overshot into what looked like a river of actual fire before managing to course-correct midair. "Okay," he said, landing on a water tower that groaned ominously under his feet. Power calibration is going to be an issue. The city was called Pentagram City. Deku learned this within the first hour through a combination of observation, careful eavesdropping, and one very short conversation with a demon who tried to sell him premium soul insurance, before realizing Deku wasn't interested in fleeing. He moved through the streets carefully, keeping his power suppressed as much as he could, which still meant occasional sparks of green-red lightning escaping when he got startled. The city was chaos given form. Buildings that defied physics, streets that seemed to rearrange themselves when you weren't looking, and everywhere, demons of every shape and size going about business that ranged from mundane to horrifying. Nobody paid much attention to him. In a city full of monsters, one green-haired guy in a jumpsuit apparently didn't register as unusual. Deku used the anonymity to gather data. He watched. He listened. He started building a mental map of the power structures, the territories, the names that kept coming up in fearful whispers. Overlords. That was the term. The heavy hitters. The ones who'd carved out empires in this chaotic hellscape through sheer force of will and power. There was a guy named Vox who controlled all the technology and media. Someone called Valentino who ran the entertainment industry and was apparently really bad news even by Hell standards. Alastor, the radio demon, who'd shown up one day and started toppling overlords like dominoes. And there was a princess. Lucifer's daughter. Running a hotel that was trying to rehabilitate sinners. That last one made Deku pause in the middle of the street, earning him annoyed looks from passing demons who had to navigate around him. Rehabilitation. In hell. Someone was actually trying to help people be better. He needed to find that hotel. But first, he'd apparently wandered into the wrong neighborhood. The street had gotten quieter. Emptier. The few demons still around were giving him looks that reminded him uncomfortably of the way people looked at injured prey. Fresh meat, someone called from an alley. Walking around like he owns the place. Doesn't know the rules yet, another voice agreed. Should teach him. Deku counted 8 distinct voices. He kept walking, but adjusted his path toward a more open area. If this was going to happen, he wanted room to move without accidentally destroying too many buildings. They emerged from the shadows all at once, surrounding him in a loose circle. Mix of demon types, some humanoid, some decidedly not. All armed with various weapons that looked like they'd been forged by someone who'd only heard about sharp objects through word of mouth. The hell are you supposed to be? The speaker was a tall demon with skin like cracked leather and horns that curved back over his skull. Seemed to be the leader. Some kind of cosplayer. Hero costume in hell, that's rich. It's not a costume, Deku said mildly. Well, it is a costume, but it's not. I'm not cosplaying. I was actually a hero. Before I died. I'm still kind of figuring out what I am now. Laughter. Cruel, mocking laughter from all sides. A hero. The leader wiped a tear from one eye, deeply amused. Oh, that's precious. Buddy, heroes don't end up in hell. Whatever you did up there, you weren't as good as you thought. Deku considered this. It was possible. He'd killed during that final battle, he'd had to. The villain they'd faced wasn't the kind you could take alive. And before that, he'd made hard choices. Done things that weighed on him. Maybe it had all added up to something that, no. He shook his head slightly. That didn't matter right now. He was here. That was the reality. The why could wait. Maybe, he said. But I'm still the guy who's asking you nicely to let me pass. Asking nicely. The leader grinned, showing rows of jagged teeth. That's cute. Tell you what, hero. Give us everything you've got, money, weapons, that stupid costume, and maybe we let you keep your limbs. I don't really have any money, Deku said apologetically. And I need the costume. It's got sentimental value. Then I guess we're doing this the fun way. The leader moved fast, faster than most humans could track. But Deku wasn't most humans, and he definitely wasn't human anymore. He saw the attack coming like it was in slow motion, the clawed hand swiping toward his throat with killing intent. He caught the wrist. Squeezed. The crack was audible. I really don't want to hurt anyone, Deku said as the leader screamed and dropped to his knees. I just got here. I don't know the rules. I'm trying to figure things out. Can we maybe just, not do this? One of the other demons charged him from behind. Deku spun, still holding the leader's broken wrist, and kicked the attacker in the chest. He tried for a gentle push. The demon ragdolled backward at roughly the speed of sound and didn't stop until it hit a building 2 blocks away. I'm also having some power control issues, Deku added, wincing. So this could get messy. The remaining demons stared at their flying companion. Then at their leader, whimpering on his knees. Then at Deku, who was looking genuinely apologetic about the whole situation. They ran. Deku released the leader, who scrambled backward, cradling his broken wrist. What are you? The demon gasped. What the hell are you? I'm not sure anymore, Deku admitted. But I'm going to figure it out. Hey, quick question before you go, do you know where the Hazbin Hotel is? The leader stared at him like he'd grown a second head. Then he pointed vaguely north with his unbroken hand and fled. Thanks. Deku called after him. Sorry about your wrist. He didn't make it to the hotel. Not directly, anyway. The problem was that his little skirmish had attracted attention. And not just from low-level demons looking for easy prey. Deku realized he was being followed about 10 minutes after the fight. Someone good at it, staying out of direct sight, using the chaotic architecture for cover. But his danger sense had always been sharp, and dying hadn't dulled it any. He changed direction. Moved into a narrower street, then took a sharp turn into an alley that dead-ended at a brick wall. Then he waited. His follower appeared at the mouth of the alley 30 seconds later. Female, short, wearing an elaborate Victorian-era dress that seemed wildly impractical for stalking someone. Her skin was pale, her eyes were sharp, and she was smiling in a way that reminded Deku of a cat that had just noticed a particularly interesting mouse. Well, she said, her voice carrying a refined southern accent that seemed completely incongruous with hell. You are just full of surprises, aren't you, sugar? Deku stayed relaxed but ready. You've been following me since the fight. I have been following you since you made that adorable little crater in Harold's apartment building, she corrected. The fight was just a pleasant confirmation that my interest was warranted. Who are you? She laughed, a genuine, delighted sound. Oh, I do so love new arrivals. So refreshingly direct. I am Rosie, dear. This is my territory. Cannibal Town, we call it. She spread her arms, indicating the surrounding streets. And you have wandered right into the middle of it. Cannibal Town. That sounded bad. Are you going to try to eat me? Deku asked, because he'd learned that direct questions usually got better results than dancing around things. Rosie laughed again, longer this time. Oh, precious thing. I might, eventually. You do look delicious. But no, not today. Today, I'm far more interested in what you are than what you taste like. She stepped closer, and Deku noted that she moved like a predator. Graceful, controlled, every motion deliberate. This was someone powerful. The way other demons had talked about overlords, the way they'd reacted to those names. Rosie had that same energy. "I'm Izuku Midoriya," he said. "I was a hero. I died. Now I'm here. A hero." Rosie circled him slowly, examining him from every angle. "Yes, I can see that. The costume, the posture, the way you apologized to that trash you were fighting even while you were breaking them. But that's not what I'm asking, darling. I'm asking what you are. Because that power I felt when you landed, that wasn't any demon ability I've ever encountered. And I have encountered quite a few." Deku considered lying. Considered deflecting. But this woman had clearly been observing him, had seen what he could do, and was approaching him with curiosity rather than hostility. That was more than he'd gotten from anyone else in this place. "I had a quirk when I was alive," he said. "A power. It's called One for All. It was passed down through generations of heroes, accumulating strength with each holder. I was the 9th. And when I died..." He looked at his hands, green-red lightning flickering briefly. "It came with me. And something about this place made it stronger." Rosie's eyes widened slightly. That was apparently not the answer she'd been expecting. "Fascinating," she breathed. "Absolutely fascinating. An inherited power that transcended death. And it's been amplified by Hell's energy." She clapped her hands together, delighted. "Oh, you are going to be so much fun." "Fun? Pentagram City is all about power, dear. It's the only currency that truly matters. And you've just arrived with a fortune in your pocket." Rosie's smile sharpened. "The question is what you plan to do with it." Deku thought about that. He'd been so focused on just surviving, just understanding, that he hadn't really considered the bigger picture. "I want to find the Hazbin Hotel," he said. "I heard there's a princess trying to help sinners. That sounds like something I should be part of." Rosie blinked. Then she started laughing again, but there was something different about it this time. Something almost fond. Charlie Morningstar's little passion project. Of all the things you could do with your power, seize territory, challenge overlords, build an empire, you want to help the princess rehabilitate sinners? Is that strange? It's adorable. Rosie stepped even closer, close enough that Deku could smell something floral mixed with something metallic. Blood, probably. It's naive, optimistic, and completely impractical. It's also the most interesting thing anyone has said to me in decades. She reached up and adjusted his collar, a surprisingly intimate gesture. "I'll tell you what, hero. Let me buy you dinner. A proper meal, not," she glanced at the unconscious demons scattered around the area, "this sort of roughhousing. And I'll tell you everything you need to know about Pentagram City, the power players, and how to find your precious princess. What's in it for you? Entertainment." Rosie's eyes gleamed. "And maybe something more, if you prove as interesting as I think you are." She held out her hand. After a moment, Deku took it. Her grip was strong, her skin was cold, and her smile was full of teeth. "Come along, darling," she said, leading him deeper into Cannibal Town. "Let's see what you're really made of." Rosie's establishment was called the Emporium, and it was significantly more upscale than anything else Deku had seen in Hell so far. Elegant Victorian architecture, crystal chandeliers, tables set with fine china. It looked like a high-end restaurant from the 1800s, which was apparently exactly the aesthetic Rosie was going for. It was also full of cannibals. Deku noticed them watching him as Rosie led him to a private table in the back. The other patrons, all dressed in similar vintage fashion, tracked his movement with hungry eyes. Evaluating. Assessing. Deciding if he was predator or prey. "Don't mind them," Rosie said, settling into her chair with practiced grace. "They won't touch you while you're my guest. It would be terribly rude. And if I wasn't your guest? Then you'd be the evening special." She smiled sweetly. But you are, so don't worry your pretty little head about it. A waiter appeared with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. Deku noticed the waiter's hands were stained red up to the wrists. The usual for me, Rosie said. And for my guest, what are you in the mood for, darling? We have quite the selection. I'm not sure I want to know what the selection involves. Probably wise. Rosie waved the waiter away. Just bring him something that won't traumatize him. As the waiter departed, Deku took the opportunity to study Rosie more closely. She was beautiful in a sharp, dangerous way, the kind of beauty that made you forget you were talking to a predator until the teeth came out. And she carried herself with the easy confidence of someone who had power and knew exactly how to use it. You're an overlord, he said. It wasn't a question. I am. Rosie poured herself a glass of wine, the liquid darker than it should be. One of the old ones. I've been running Cannibal Town for longer than most demons down here have been dead. And you're interested in me because you're new, powerful, and fascinating. She took a sip of her wine. Pentagram City hasn't had a real upset in some time. Oh, there's been some shuffling, Vox and his little technology empire, Valentino and his. She made a dismissive gesture. Business ventures. But nothing truly exciting. And then you fall out of the sky and start breaking things with a power that shouldn't exist here. I didn't mean to break anything. I'm still calibrating. I know. That's what makes it so delightful. Rosie leaned forward, resting her chin on her interlaced fingers. Tell me about this Charlie Morningstar. Why are you so interested in her project? Deku thought about how to explain it. When I was alive, I believed everyone deserved a chance to be better. Even villains. Especially villains, sometimes. I fought people who'd done terrible things, but I tried to save them too, when I could. Give them the opportunity to change. And you think that applies to the damned? I don't know yet. But I know someone's trying, and that's more than most people do. Rosie studied him for a long moment. Her expression was unreadable. You actually mean that, she said finally. You're not saying it because you think it's what I want to hear. You genuinely believe this naive little philosophy. Is that a problem? It should be. This is hell, darling. Everyone here is damned for a reason. The souls in Pentagram City murdered, stole, cheated, and worse. They didn't end up here because of parking tickets. Did you? Rosie's smile flickered. Just for a second. Did I what? Murder, steal, cheat, and worse. Is that why you're here? The silence stretched. Around them, the restaurant continued its quiet bustle, but their table had become an island of tension. Then Rosie laughed. Not the delighted laugh from before, something rawer, more genuine. Oh, you have teeth, she said admiringly. I wasn't sure at first, all that apologizing, all that, I don't want to hurt anyone. But you do have teeth. You're just polite about using them. I try to be. Yes. You do. She drained her wine glass in one elegant motion. I killed my husband. Ate him, too, but that came later. He was a cruel man, and I was young and stupid and thought marriage would save me. When I finally decided I'd had enough, I was quite thorough about it. Deku absorbed this without visible reaction. And after? After I killed others. Bad men, mostly. Though I'll admit my definition of bad became rather flexible toward the end. Do you regret it? Rosie actually seemed to consider the question. The husband? Never. The others? She waved a hand vaguely. Some. Not enough to change what I'd do, but some. The waiter returned with plates. Deku's food looked like a normal steak dinner. He tried not to think too hard about the source. You're remarkably calm about all this, Rosie observed, watching him eat. I've met a lot of villains, Deku said between bites. The steak was good, whatever it was made of. People who did terrible things for terrible reasons. And also people who did terrible things for reasons that made sense to them. Understanding why someone did something doesn't mean I agree with it, but it helps me figure out what to do next. And what do you plan to do about me? Deku looked up from his plate. Rosie was watching him with an intensity that felt almost physical. Nothing, he said. You're being helpful. You haven't threatened me, much. And whatever you did when you were alive, you seem to have your own code here. That's more than I can say for most of the demons I've met so far. Such a low bar. It's still a bar. He took another bite. Besides, you're interesting. I don't usually meet people who can sneak up on me without me noticing for that long. Rosie preened slightly. I do have my talents. They ate in relatively comfortable silence for a while. Deku found himself relaxing despite the circumstances, or maybe because of them. Rosie was dangerous, but she was also intelligent and honest about what she was. There was something restful about dealing with someone who didn't pretend to be anything other than a cannibal demon overlord. So, Rosie said eventually, pushing her empty plate away. The Hazbin Hotel. Charlie's been running that little project for a while now, but she hasn't exactly made much progress. One client so far, and he's. She made a so-so gesture. Let's say, in progress. What's stopping her? Lack of power, mostly. Charlie's the princess, yes, but she doesn't have control of Hell's actual power structures. The overlords, the political systems, the territory, none of it answers to her. She's trying to change Hell with nothing but good intentions and a singing voice. She sings. Frequently. It's charming, in a naive sort of way. Rosie's expression softened slightly. I actually rather like Charlie. She's one of the only genuinely good souls in this place, which is ironic given whose daughter she is. But liking someone and helping them are two different things. You could help her. I could. Rosie's eyes met his. The question is why I would. Deku set down his fork. Because you're bored. Because you've been doing the same thing for a very long time and you want something new. Because you actually do believe people can change, even if you don't admit it. And because, he paused, thinking about how to phrase this, I think you're lonely. All this power, all this territory, all these followers, but nobody who actually sees you. Nobody interesting enough to matter. The restaurant went very quiet. The other patrons seemed to be holding their breath. Rosie's expression had frozen. For a long moment, she didn't move at all. Then she started laughing. Full-bodied, genuine laughter that shook her whole frame. Oh, you wonderful creature, she said when she could speak again. You absolute menace. Do you always psychoanalyze people you've just met? I analyze everything. It's a habit. Clearly. She wiped a tear from her eye, still chuckling. You're right, of course. About most of it. It's been quite a while since anyone called me out so directly. Sorry if I overstepped. Don't be. I find it refreshing. Rosie stood, smoothing her dress. Come. I'll take you to Charlie's hotel myself. I want to see her face when you walk in. Deku rose to follow her. As they passed through the restaurant, he noticed the other diners had gone back to their meals, but they were watching him differently now. Less like prey, more like, something they weren't quite sure how to categorize. Outside, the streets of Cannibal Town were as dark and twisted as before, but they seemed less threatening with Rosie at his side. Demons who had been eyeing him hungrily now quickly looked away. You've made quite an impression, Rosie said as they walked. Word is spreading about the green-haired newcomer who can punch through buildings. I was really hoping to keep a lower profile. In Pentagram City? With that much power? She laughed. Darling, low profile stopped being an option the moment you left that crater. The only question now is what kind of impression you want to make. Deku thought about that as they walked. About what he wanted, now that he was here. About what kind of person he was going to be in this new existence. I want to help people, he said finally. Same as always. The methods might have to change, but the goal doesn't. Even here. Even the damned. Especially the damned. He looked at her seriously. If there's any chance they can be better, doesn't someone have to try? Rosie studied him for a long moment. Something shifted in her expression, not quite soft, but less sharp. You know, she said quietly, I believe you might actually be exactly what Charlie needs. Before Deku could ask what she meant, she was pointing ahead. There it is. The Hazbin Hotel. The building was, something. A massive structure that looked like it had been decorated by someone with a lot of enthusiasm and not much restraint. Bright colors, chaotic architecture, and a sign that proclaimed Hazbin Hotel in letters that seemed to be actively trying to catch your attention. It was the most optimistic thing Deku had seen since arriving in Hell. I'll let you make your entrance, Rosie said, stopping at the edge of the property. But don't think this is goodbye. I'm very interested to see how this story develops. You're not coming in. Not yet. I want to observe a bit longer. Her smile had that predatory edge again. Besides, I think Charlie will be more likely to trust you if you're not arriving on the arm of a cannibal overlord. Fair point. Thank you, Deku said. For the meal, the information, and not eating me. The night is young, darling. But her tone was teasing now. Go on. Go meet your princess. Deku nodded and started toward the hotel. He'd only taken a few steps when Rosie called after him. Izuku. He turned. You were right, she said. About the loneliness. I haven't admitted that to anyone in a very long time. So consider me, intrigued. Then she was gone, melting into the shadows of Cannibal Town like she'd never been there at all. Deku stared at the empty space for a moment. Then he squared his shoulders and continued toward the hotel. Time to meet the princess. The interior of the Hazbin Hotel was even more chaotic than the exterior. Mismatched furniture, aggressive color schemes, and a general aesthetic that could best be described as, what if a casino and a circus had a baby and then that baby went through a goth phase. Deku loved it immediately. Hello, he called out, stepping into what appeared to be a lobby. Is anyone here? I heard this was a place for, a blur of motion, and suddenly there was a very small demon with one large eye directly in his face. New guest. The demon, female, he thought, though it was hard to tell with the manic energy, shrieked. We have a new guest. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Are you here to be rehabilitated? Are you a sinner? You don't look like a sinner, you look like a hero, but that's probably just the costume. What did you do? Did you kill someone? I love killers. Well, I love cleaning up after killers, but that's almost the same thing. Nifty. Give the man some space. A new voice, male, exasperated. Deku tracked it to a cat demon slouched behind a bar in the corner, nursing a drink. You're gonna scare off the only potential guest we've had in months. The small demon, Nifty, apparently, bounced back slightly but kept staring at Deku with disturbing intensity. Sorry. I just get so excited. We never have guests. Well, we have Angel, but he doesn't count because he lives here. Do you want to live here? I can clean your room. I'm very good at cleaning. That sounds nice. Deku managed. Heavy footsteps. A new figure entered the lobby, a spider demon, tall and lanky, with too many arms and an expression of supreme boredom. The hell is all the screaming about? Some of us are trying to. The spider stopped, looking Deku up and down. Well. What do we have here? Fresh meat? This is a new guest. Nifty said excitedly. I think. Are you a guest? I'm hoping to be. Deku offered a polite smile. My name is Izuku Midoriya. I heard about the rehabilitation program and I wanted to learn more. The spider demon, angel dust, Deku remembered from Rosie's briefing, raised an eyebrow. Rehabilitation? You actually believe in that crap? I believe people can change. Whether or not this specific program works is something I'd need to see for myself. Ha! Angel looked almost impressed. At least you're honest about it. Most newcomers are either true believers or total cynics. You're somewhere in between. I try to reserve judgment until I have enough information. Yeah, well, good luck with that down here. Information has a way of being unreliable. More footsteps, lighter this time, accompanied by a voice that was, singing. Who could be visiting at this hour? I hope it's someone with lots of power. To help us finally change the game, and bring rehabilitation fame. A blonde woman burst into the lobby, arms spread wide, smile even wider. She was beautiful in a way that seemed almost out of place in hell, bright, cheerful, radiating an energy that felt like sunshine in a place that had never seen the sun. Behind her, looking significantly less enthused, was another woman, shorter, gray-skinned, with an eye patch and an expression of deep suspicion. Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel, the blonde announced, practically bouncing toward Deku. I'm Charlie. Charlie Morningstar. Princess of Hell and founder of this establishment. And you must be our new, she stopped abruptly, staring at him. You. Charlie's head tilted. There's something different about you. I can feel it. The suspicious woman behind her immediately moved to position herself between Deku and Charlie. Charlie, get back. We don't know anything about this guy. Vaggie, it's fine. He came to our door. That means he wants help. Or it means he wants to case the place before robbing us. We don't have anything worth stealing. That's not the point. Deku held up his hands in what he hoped was a non-threatening gesture. The green lightning crackling across his skin probably undermined the effect. I'm not here to rob anyone, he said. My name is Izuku Midoriya. I was a hero when I was alive, a real one, where I come from. I died and woke up here. I've been trying to figure out what to do next, and when I heard about your hotel, it seemed like the kind of thing I should be part of. Silence. Then Charlie squealed. A hero? She grabbed his hands, ignoring the lightning entirely. An actual hero? Who believes in redemption? And you want to join us? Charlie, Vaggie started. Vaggie. Do you know how long I've waited for someone like this? Someone with real experience helping people. Someone who actually believes it can work. Charlie was practically vibrating with excitement. Oh my gosh, we have to celebrate. Husk. Drinks for everyone. I'm not a bartender, the cat demon muttered, but he was already reaching for glasses. Vaggie had not relaxed. Her single eye was fixed on Deku with an intensity that reminded him uncomfortably of some of the pros he'd worked with. People who had seen too much to trust easily. What's the catch? She asked bluntly. Nobody just shows up offering to help. Especially not someone with power like that. She gestured at the lightning still sparking across his body. There's no catch. I genuinely want to help. Why? It was a fair question. Deku thought about how to answer honestly. Because it's what I've always done, he said finally. I spent my whole life trying to save people. Trying to prove that everyone deserves a chance. When I died, I thought that was the end of it. But I'm still here, still have my power, and there's still a princess who believes in redemption. He looked at Charlie, who was watching him with wide, hopeful eyes. That sounds like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Charlie made a sound that was somewhere between a sob and a laugh. Oh my gosh, she whispered. You actually mean it? Yeah. I do. She hugged him. It was sudden and enthusiastic and accompanied by more squealing. Deku, who had been prepared for many things in hell, had not been prepared for this. Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel. Charlie said into his chest. We're so happy to have you. This is going to be amazing. I can feel it. Over her shoulder, Deku caught Vaggy's eye. She still looked suspicious, but there was something else there now. A tiny crack in the wall. Progress. The next few hours were a whirlwind of introductions and explanations. The hotel's current roster was small, Charlie and Vaggy as the founders, Husk as the reluctant bartender, Nifty as the hyperactive housekeeper, and Angel Dust as the sole guest currently undergoing rehabilitation. There was also Alaster. Deku felt him before he saw him. A presence at the edge of his awareness, powerful and wrong in a way that made his danger sense go haywire. The kind of power that didn't just threaten your body, it threatened something deeper. Well. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, accompanied by the crackling static of an old radio. What a delightful surprise. A new participant in our little experiment. He materialized from the shadows, a tall, thin demon with a permanent smile and eyes that held nothing good. His presence seemed to distort the air around him, reality bending slightly in his vicinity. The radio demon. One of the most powerful overlords in Pentagram City, if Rosie's information was accurate. And he was just, hanging out at Charlie's hotel. You must be Alaster, Deku said. His body wanted to shift into a combat stance. He didn't let it. And you must be the fascinating newcomer everyone is whispering about. Alaster's smile widened, which shouldn't have been possible. I've heard the most entertaining stories. Buildings destroyed. Demons scattered. And all with such polite apologies afterward. I'm working on the control issues. Oh, don't apologize. Chaos is the spice of entertainment. Alaster circled him slowly, examining him from all angles. But I must admit, I'm curious. What exactly are you? That power you're carrying, it's not demonic. Not angelic either. Something else entirely. It's called One for All. It was passed down to me by my mentor. A hereditary power. How quaint. Alaster's eyes gleamed. And you've brought it all the way to hell intact. That's not supposed to happen, you know. Souls arrive stripped of their mortal abilities. It's part of the punishment. I never was very good at following rules. Alaster laughed, a genuine laugh, not the performed ones Deku had heard before. Oh, I like you. You've got spirit. It's going to be so entertaining watching you navigate our little corner of damnation. Alaster. Charlie stepped forward, putting herself between them. Remember our deal. You're here to help the hotel, not to intimidate new arrivals. Perish the thought, my dear. Alaster's smile somehow became even more unsettling. I'm simply welcoming our new friend. After all, if he's going to be part of our merry band of misfits, we should get to know each other. He extended a clawed hand toward Deku. What do you say? Friends? Deku looked at the hand. At Alaster's smile. At the way everyone else in the room had gone very still. He took the hand. Sure. Friends. There was a flash of green light, Deku's power reacting instinctively to whatever Alaster had been trying to do. The radio demon's eyes widened slightly, his smile flickering for just a moment. Then they were just shaking hands, and whatever had almost happened hadn't. Well, Alaster said, withdrawing his hand slowly. That was unexpected. Sorry. Like I said, working on control. But they both knew it hadn't been a control issue. Deku's power had sensed a threat and responded accordingly. Alaster's smile returned, but there was something different in his eyes now. Calculation. Reassessment. You're going to be very interesting to watch, the radio demon said. Very interesting indeed. Then he vanished into the shadows, leaving behind only the fading sound of static. Holy shit, Angel Dust said after a moment. Nobody's ever blocked Alastair's handshake thing before. What the hell was that? I'm not entirely sure. Deku flexed his hand, watching the green lightning play across his fingers. But I don't think he expected it either. Charlie was staring at him with new eyes. You can really do it, can't you? Help us, I mean. Really help us. I'm going to try. Her smile could have lit up all of hell. Then let's get started. I have so many plans. So many ideas. Oh, this is going to be, the front door exploded inward. Deku moved on instinct, putting himself between Charlie and the threat. 3 figures entered through the smoking doorway, demons in corporate-looking suits, carrying weapons that crackled with electricity. Izuku Midoriya, the lead demon announced. Our employer would like a word with you. And your employer is? Vox. The seeing eye of Pentagram City. The demon's smile was thin and unpleasant. You've attracted his attention. That's not something you want to do. Deku glanced back at the hotel crew. Vaggie had drawn weapons. When had she gotten weapons? Angel Dust looked ready to fight. Even Nifty was holding a knife that was definitely too large for her. Tell your boss I'm busy, Deku said. He can make an appointment. That wasn't a request. The demons raised their weapons. Behind them, Deku could see more figures approaching, at least a dozen, probably more. Go out the back, he said quietly to Charlie. All of you. I'll handle this. We're not leaving you, Vaggie started. You're not ready for this fight. Deku's voice was calm but firm. I am. Go. He stepped forward, one for all building in his body. The green-red lightning intensified, casting sharp shadows across the lobby. Last chance, he told Vox's agents. Leave now, and we can pretend this never happened. The lead demon laughed. Do you have any idea who you're? Deku moved. The world blurred. He crossed the distance in an instant, fist connecting with the lead demon's chest. The impact was controlled this time. He'd been practicing, but it was still enough to send the demon flying backward through his own reinforcements like a bowling ball through pins. The remaining demons opened fire. Electric blasts that would have killed most souls on contact. Deku was already gone, weaving between the attacks with speed that made them look frozen. He hit the second demon, the third, the fourth. Each blow was precise, calculated, just enough force to incapacitate without destroying. He wasn't trying to kill them. That wasn't who he was. But he was definitely making a point. 30 seconds later, the street in front of the Hazbin Hotel was littered with groaning demons. Deku stood among them, not even breathing hard. Tell Vox, he said calmly, that the Hazbin Hotel is under my protection. If he has a problem with that, he can come talk to me himself. One of the demons, barely conscious, was pressing something on his wrist. A transmitter, Deku realized. Recording everything. Good. He turned and walked back into the hotel, where Charlie and the others had not, in fact, left through the back. They were standing in the doorway, staring at him with varying expressions of shock. Was that too much? Deku asked. I was trying to send a message, but I might have. Charlie tackled him with another hug, this one even more enthusiastic than the first. That was amazing, she squealed. You just, and then they, and the lightning. Okay, Vaggie said slowly. I'm starting to believe you might actually be what you say you are. Angel Dust let out a low whistle. Where the hell did you come from, Greenie? I've never seen anyone move like that. Another world, Deku said honestly. Another life. But I'm here now. He looked at the group gathered around him, Charlie's overwhelming enthusiasm, Vaggie's grudging respect, Angel's impressed assessment, Husk's raised eyebrow, Nifty's manic grin. And beyond them, in the shadows, Alastor's gleaming eyes and permanent smile. "I'm here now," Deku repeated. "And I'm not going anywhere." In the distance, every screen in Pentagram City flickered. A face appeared, sleek, modern, furious. Vox had gotten the message. The next morning brought visitors. Deku woke early, old habits from his hero days, and found Rosie waiting for him in the hotel lobby, sipping tea and looking entirely too pleased with herself. "I heard about last night's excitement," she said as he approached. "Vox's agents, scattered like leaves. And you didn't even kill any of them." "I don't kill if I don't have to." "How delightfully impractical." Rosie patted the seat beside her. "Sit with me, darling. We should discuss what happens next." Deku sat, accepting the cup of tea she poured for him. It was good tea, surprisingly normal considering who was serving it. "Vox is going to retaliate," he said. "That message I sent, he'll take it as a challenge." "Oh, absolutely. He's already started." Rosie pulled out a small device, a phone, hellish design, and showed him the screen. "Every broadcast channel, every social media platform. Your face is everywhere." Deku looked at the screen. His face was indeed everywhere, accompanied by a bounty figure that made him blink. "That's a lot of money. It's a lot of desperation." Rosie's smile was razor-sharp. "Vox is afraid of you, darling. That bounty isn't confidence, it's panic. He should be more afraid of what happens when I come for him." Rosie raised an eyebrow. "Oh. You're planning to go on the offensive?" "Not yet. But he attacked a place where I live now. He put people I'm starting to care about in danger." Deku's voice was calm, but there was steel underneath. "That's not something I can let slide." "No," Rosie murmured, studying him with new interest. "I don't suppose it is." She set down her teacup and turned to face him fully. "Izuku, I'm going to make you an offer. A formal one, this time." "I'm listening." "An alliance. Cannibal Town and whatever you're building here. My resources, my connections, my knowledge of how this city works. In exchange." She paused, considering. "In exchange, you let me watch. Let me be part of whatever story you're writing. It's been so long since anything truly interesting happened in hell. That's all you want? To watch?" Rosie's smile softened slightly. "Perhaps not all. But it's a start." Deku thought about it. He needed allies, that was obvious. And Rosie had proven herself willing to help, at least so far. There were risks, of course. She was a cannibal overlord with centuries of experience in manipulation and violence. Trusting her completely would be stupid. But refusing her outright would be stupider. "Okay," he said. "Alliance. But with conditions." "Of course. You don't eat anyone I care about." Rosie laughed. "Fair. And you tell me the truth. Even when it's ugly. Especially when it's ugly. Also fair." She extended her hand. "Do we have a deal, hero?" Deku took her hand. "We have a deal, Overlord." Rosie's grip tightened. She pulled him closer, and before Deku could react, she kissed him. It wasn't a gentle kiss. It wasn't a sweet kiss. It was the kiss of someone who had decided to stake a claim and wasn't interested in being subtle about it. When she pulled back, Deku was fairly sure his brain had stopped working for a few seconds. "Consider that a down payment," Rosie said, her smile now carrying an entirely different kind of danger. "On whatever comes next. That's not how negotiations usually work. It is when I'm doing the negotiating." She stood, smoothing her dress. "I'll be in touch, darling. Try not to get killed before we can have our second date." She swept out of the hotel, leaving Deku sitting in stunned silence. Holy shit. Angel Dust's voice came from the stairway. Deku turned to find the spider demon watching with obvious amusement. Did you just bag Rosie? Rosie the cannibal? Rosie the overlord who hasn't dated anyone in literally decades? I don't. I'm not sure what just happened. What happened is you've got game, Greenie. Angel descended the stairs, grinning. Damn. Maybe this rehabilitation thing has some perks after all. Stick close to you and some of that luck might rub off. Charlie appeared at the top of the stairs, still in what appeared to be pajamas. What's all the, Deku? Good morning. Was someone here? I thought I heard voices. Just a visitor, Deku said. An ally. An ally with benefits, from the look of things, Angel muttered. Deku felt his face heat up. Some things, apparently, didn't change even after death. The bounty hunters started arriving around noon. They came in waves, first the opportunists, demons who thought a single powerful newcomer would be easy pickings with the right approach. Deku dealt with them efficiently, almost gently. He didn't want to kill anyone who was just desperate for the reward money. But by the third wave, he stopped being gentle. I need you to understand something, he said, standing over a pile of defeated demons. This hotel, the people inside it, they're off limits. Completely. Absolutely. Non-negotiably. He let one for all flare, green-red lightning casting harsh shadows across the street. Spread the word. Anyone who comes after us doesn't just have to deal with me. They have to deal with what happens when I stop holding back. The surviving bounty hunters fled. Deku watched them go, then turned back to the hotel. Vaggie was waiting in the doorway. Her expression was complicated. You keep doing that, she said. Doing what? Protecting us. Warning people off. Fighting battles that aren't yours. She crossed her arms. Why? Deku thought about the question. It was a good one, maybe the central question of his existence, both living and dead. Because someone has to, he said finally. And because I can. Vaggie studied him for a long moment. I was like you, once. Before I fell. Fell? I was an angel. She reached up to touch her eye patch. Exterminator class. I came to hell every year to kill sinners. It was my duty. My purpose. Deku processed this. What changed? I met Charlie. Vaggie's voice softened. She was so bright. So convinced that there had to be a better way. I couldn't believe in her dreams, but I could believe in her. So I fell. Gave up everything to stay with her. That's a big sacrifice. It was. But it was worth it. Vaggie met his eyes directly. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand something. Charlie is everything to me. If you hurt her, I won't. I'm not finished. Vaggie stepped closer. If you hurt her, I will find a way to kill you permanently. I don't care how powerful you are. I will find a way. I believe you. Deku didn't back down from her stare. But you don't have to worry about that. I've spent my entire existence trying to protect people like Charlie. People who believe in something good. I'm not going to stop now. The tension held for another moment. Then Vaggie nodded slowly. Okay, she said. Okay. I'm choosing to trust you. Don't make me regret it. I won't. She turned to go back inside, then paused. For what it's worth, it's been a long time since anyone fought for us like that. Since anyone thought we were worth protecting. You are, Deku said simply. All of you. Vaggie didn't respond, but the slight softening of her expression said enough. Progress. The rest of the day passed in a strange combination of defensive battles and domestic normalcy. Between waves of bounty hunters, Deku helped Charlie organize rehabilitation schedules, listened to Angel Dust complain about his complicated employment situation, and dodged Nifty's increasingly creative attempts to clean him while he was still wearing his clothes. But as evening approached, a new presence made itself known. Deku felt her before he saw her, a burst of energy on the edge of his perception, chaos and enthusiasm and raw destructive power approaching the hotel at high speed. He was on the roof when she arrived, a pink-skinned demon with massive hair, mismatched eyes, and an expression of manic excitement. "Holy shit," she screamed, skidding to a stop in front of the hotel. "Where is he? Where's the guy who punched through like 8 buildings?" Deku dropped down from the roof, landing in front of her. "I only punched through 4 buildings. And one of those was mostly me stopping." The demon's eyes went wide. Then she grinned so hard it looked painful. "It's you. Oh my god, it's actually you." She was bouncing on her feet, practically vibrating. "I saw you fight yesterday. You were like, BAM, and then, whoosh, and those idiots were just," she made explosion noises with her mouth. "Thanks. I think. I'm Cherry. Cherry Bomb. Explosives expert, chaos enthusiast, and your biggest fan as of about 20 hours ago." She grabbed his hands. Dude. You have to show me how you do the lightning thing. Is it magic? Is it some kind of ability? Can I learn it?" Deku found himself charmed despite his caution. There was something refreshingly honest about Cherry's enthusiasm. No hidden agendas, no subtle manipulations, just pure, unbridled excitement about violence and explosions. "It's a quirk," he said. "A power I inherited. I don't think it can be taught." "Aw, lame." But she didn't seem particularly disappointed. "Whatever, it's still cool as hell. Get it? Cool as hell. Because we're in hell." "I got it." "Great. So anyway, I heard you're shaking things up around here. Beating up Vox's goons, making alliances, the whole deal." Cherry leaned in conspiratorially. "I want in." "In on what?" "Whatever you're doing. Look, Pentagram City's been boring for way too long. The same overlords, the same territories, the same old crap. But you?" She poked him in the chest. "You're interesting. You're new. And you've got the juice to actually change things. I'm not trying to take over. I'm trying to help." "Same difference, honestly." Cherry shrugged. "Either way, things are gonna get blown up. And I want to be there when they do." Deku considered her. She was clearly chaotic, probably dangerous, and definitely not what anyone would call stable. But there was something genuine about her too. And he could use allies who weren't afraid to get their hands dirty. "I can't promise anything," he said carefully. "But if you want to stick around, you're welcome at the hotel." "Yes." Cherry pumped her fist. "This is gonna be so much fun. We're gonna wreck so much stuff." "That's not really the goal, but don't worry about it. I'll follow your lead." She was already heading toward the hotel entrance. "Just point me at whoever needs wrecking and I'll do the rest." Deku watched her go, wondering what exactly he'd just gotten himself into. Then again, in hell, maybe a little chaos was exactly what he needed. Night fell on Pentagram City. Deku stood on the roof of the Hazbin Hotel, looking out over the twisted landscape. Red lights and neon signs painted the darkness in hellish colors. Somewhere in the distance, screaming mixed with laughter mixed with music in a soundtrack of eternal damnation. It was strange. He should feel out of place here, a hero in hell, a symbol of hope in a realm of despair. But somehow, it felt right. Like this was where he was supposed to end up all along. Quite the view, isn't it? Alastair materialized beside him, that eternal smile gleaming in the darkness. "It's something," Deku agreed. "You've had quite the first day. Alliance with Rosie, battles with Vox's forces, recruitment of young Cherry Bomb. Alastor's eyes glittered. You're moving quickly. I learned a long time ago not to waste time. When you see something that needs to be done, you do it. And what is it that you see needing to be done here? Deku considered the question. Change. This place, these people, they're stuck in patterns. The same violence, the same cruelty, the same despair. Round and round forever. But it doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't it? Alastor's tone was genuinely curious. This is hell, my boy. Eternal punishment. Suffering without end. That's rather the point. Maybe. Or maybe the point is that it doesn't have to be. Maybe the point is proving that even here, even among the damned, something better is possible. How wonderfully naive. Everyone keeps saying that. Deku turned to face the radio demon. But I've spent my whole life being told things were impossible. That I couldn't be a hero. That I couldn't save everyone. That I couldn't change anything. He let one for all flare, green-red lightning illuminating the rooftop. I proved them wrong every time. I don't see why this should be any different. Alastor studied him with those unreadable eyes. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then the radio demon laughed, that genuine laugh, not the performed one. Oh, you are going to be fun, Alastor said. Absolutely delightful. I can't wait to see what you do next. He vanished into the shadows, leaving Deku alone with the hellish skyline. Alone, but not for long. The door to the roof opened, and Charlie emerged. There you are. She bounded over to join him at the edge. I've been looking everywhere. Vaggie said you might be up here. Just thinking. About what? The future. What comes next? How to help people in a place that seems designed to stop them from being helped. Charlie's expression softened. That's what I think about too. Every day. She moved to stand beside him, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. Can I tell you something? Of course. When I started this hotel, everyone told me it was impossible. My father thought it was a waste of time. Other overlords laughed. Even my own partner, my ex, said I was being naive. She looked out at the city. But I kept going because I believed it was right. Because I believed that everyone deserves a chance. That's admirable. Maybe. Or maybe it's just stubborn. She laughed softly. But when you showed up, when you said you believed in redemption too, it was the first time I felt like maybe I wasn't crazy. Maybe it wasn't impossible. It's not impossible, Deku said firmly. It's just really, really hard. But hard doesn't mean impossible. Hard means it's worth fighting for. Charlie turned to look at him. Her eyes were bright with something that might have been tears. Thank you, she whispered. For being here. For believing. Thank you for giving me somewhere to believe in. The moment stretched between them, charged with something neither of them named. Then Charlie took a deep breath and stepped back. Well. It's getting late. Big day tomorrow. Lots of rehabilitation to plan. She was back to her usual cheerful energy, though her cheeks were slightly flushed. Get some sleep, okay? You've earned it. She practically fled back through the roof door, leaving Deku alone again. He smiled slightly. Even in hell, some things remained constant. Awkward moments. Uncertain feelings. The slow build of something that might become significant. He turned back to the skyline. In the distance, every screen in the city flickered again. Vox's face appeared, that sleek, modern design twisted with barely concealed rage. Attention, Pentagram City, the broadcast announced. The bounty on Izuku Midoriya has been doubled. Any demon who brings me his head will receive. Deku tuned out the rest. Let Vox rage. Let him throw resources at a problem he didn't understand. It didn't change what was coming. Change. Real change. Not through violence, though there would be violence, but through something more powerful. Hope. I'm going to change everything, Deku said quietly to the hellish knight. Just watch. The green lightning crackled across his body, brighter than ever. And somewhere in the shadows of Pentagram City, those who were watching felt something they hadn't felt in a very long time. Fear. Chapter 2, The Crown. Nobody wanted. The bounty hunters stopped coming on the third day. Not because they'd given up. Because they'd learned. Deku stood in a crater that used to be a street corner, surrounded by the groaning bodies of what Vox had advertised as his elite retrieval squad. 15 demons, armed with the latest and hellish technology, backed by months of combat data and strategic analysis. They'd lasted about 40 seconds. Tell your boss, Deku said to the one demon still conscious enough to hear him, that this is getting embarrassing. For him. He walked back toward the hotel, stepping over unconscious bodies with practiced ease. The street was quiet now. Other demons had learned to clear out when the green lightning started flying. Cherry Bomb fell into step beside him, practically skipping. Dude. That thing you did with the air pressure. Where you just, she made an explosion sound with her mouth. And they all went flying. That was so cool. It's a support technique. I try not to use it too much because calibrating the force is tricky. Tricky? You launched that guy into orbit. He'll land eventually. That's the spirit. Cherry punched his shoulder affectionately. Man, I'm so glad I decided to hang around. This is the most fun I've had in decades. The hotel came into view, and Deku felt the usual mix of warmth and determination that the sight triggered. It had only been 3 days, but the Hazbin hotel already felt like home. More than that, it felt like purpose. Vaggie met them at the door, arms crossed but expression less hostile than it had been. Vox's squad. Handled. Any injuries? Theirs, not mine. Something that might have been approval flickered across her face. Good. Charlie wants to see you. Something about a new rehabilitation strategy she's been working on. Deku nodded and headed inside, leaving Cherry to regale Vaggie with an enthusiastic play-by-play of the fight. He found Charlie in what she designated as the planning room, a cluttered space filled with whiteboards, sticky notes, and an alarming number of motivational posters. Deku. She spun around from the whiteboard she'd been furiously writing on. Perfect timing. I had an idea and I need your input. What's the idea? Okay, so. She grabbed a pointer stick and gestured at a complicated diagram. Traditional rehabilitation focuses on individual redemption, right? One sinner at a time, working through their issues, finding better paths. But what if we could scale it up? Deku studied the diagram. It showed interconnected circles, arrows pointing between them, notes scribbled in margins. You want to create a network, he said, following her logic. Rehabilitated sinners helping other sinners. Peer support. Yes. Charlie's face lit up. Exactly. If we can get enough people through the program, they can start helping others. It becomes self-sustaining. Exponential growth. It's a good idea. But there's a problem. What problem? Protection. Deku tapped one of the circles. Right now, the hotel is safe because I'm here. But if we expand, spread out across the city, we can't be everywhere. Vox, Valentino, the other overlords, they'll target the outposts. Pick off the vulnerable. Charlie's enthusiasm dimmed slightly. I know. That's why I wanted to talk to you. How do we solve it? Deku thought about it. The tactical problem wasn't complicated, it was the same issue heroes faced with villain organizations. You couldn't protect everyone all the time. But you could make attacking them so costly that enemies thought twice. We need allies, he said. Real ones. Overlords who will back us, protect the expansion. And we need to make an example of anyone who tries to interfere. An example? Nothing lethal. Just, memorable. Charlie bit her lip. I don't want this to become about violence. That's not what rehabilitation is supposed to be. It's not about violence. It's about safety. Deku met her eyes. You can't help people if they're too scared to come to you. And they'll be scared as long as the Overlords can threaten them without consequences. So we need to be strong enough that no one dares threaten them. Exactly. Charlie was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded slowly. Okay. I trust you. If you think we need allies, let's get allies. She smiled, though it was tinged with uncertainty. Where do we start? I might have an idea about that. Rosie's emporium was exactly as Deku remembered it, elegant, refined, and filled with cannibals who watched him like he was a particularly interesting cut of meat. Rosie herself was waiting at her usual table, tea service already prepared. She smiled when she saw him approach, and there was something warm underneath the predatory edge. Darling. She rose to greet him, kissing both his cheeks in that old-fashioned way she favored. What a delightful surprise. I was hoping you'd visit soon. We need to talk business. Straight to the point. I do admire that about you. She gestured for him to sit. Tell me what's on your mind. Deku explained Charlie's expansion plan, the need for protection, the strategic problem of overextension. Rosie listened without interrupting, her expression thoughtful. You want Cannibal Town to protect the outposts, she said when he finished. I want an alliance that goes beyond just watching. I want you actively involved in what we're building. And what exactly are you building? A new power structure. One where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them. Where sinners have a chance to be better instead of being ground down forever. He met her eyes. I know it sounds idealistic. But I've done idealistic before. It works. Rosie was silent for a long moment. She stirred her tea slowly, the spoon clinking against porcelain. You're asking me to take a side, she said finally. To openly oppose the other overlords. Vox. Valentino. Perhaps even Alastair, eventually. I'm asking you to be part of something that matters. I've been part of many things that mattered, darling. Most of them ended badly. This one won't. You can't know that. No, Deku agreed. But I believe it. And I think you want to believe it too. Rosie's eyes narrowed slightly. You're trying to manipulate me. I'm trying to be honest with you. You told me that's what you wanted. Another long silence. Rosie set down her teacup with a decisive click. Very well, she said. I'll commit more fully to this alliance. Cannibal Town will protect the expansion. My resources are at your disposal. She leaned forward. But I want something in return. Name it. You. Her smile was sharp and hungry. Not just professionally. I want access. Time. Attention. She reached across the table and traced a finger along his jaw. I want to know what it feels like to be close to something that burns so bright. Deku felt his face heat up. That's too forward. Rosie laughed, low and amused. Darling, I've spent centuries being patient and proper. I'm rather tired of it. You make me feel things I haven't felt in a very long time. I intend to explore that. I don't know if I can give you what you're asking for. You can. She stood, circling the table to stand behind him. Her hands rested on his shoulders. You already are. Every time you look at me like I'm more than just a monster. Every time you treat me like a person instead of a threat. Her lips brushed his ear. That's worth more than you know. Deku turned to face her. She was close, very close, and her eyes held something that might have been vulnerability underneath all the predatory confidence. "Rosie," he said carefully. "I care about you. That's not a line. But I'm not. I don't know how relationships work here. I don't know what the rules are. There are no rules, darling. That's rather the point of hell." She cupped his face in her hands. "Just tell me you feel something. Anything. And we'll figure out the rest together." He did feel something. That was the problem. She was dangerous, terrifying, a cannibal overlord with centuries of blood on her hands. And she was also fascinating, intelligent, and genuinely vulnerable in ways she let almost no one see. "I feel something," he admitted. Rosie's smile was brilliant. "Then that's enough. For now." She kissed him. Not the claiming kiss from before, something softer, more exploratory. A question rather than a statement. Deku kissed her back. He felt her surprise, her pleasure, her hands tightening on his shoulders. When they broke apart, both of them were breathing harder than strictly necessary. "Well," Rosie said, her voice slightly unsteady. "That was quite satisfactory." "Yeah," Deku managed. "It was. We should do it again sometime." "Probably." "Good." She smoothed her dress, composing herself. "Now then. You mentioned needing allies beyond just myself. I assume you have others in mind?" Deku forced his brain to shift back to strategic mode. It took more effort than it should have. "There's someone I've been watching," he said. "One of the V's. The one who handles media." "Velvette?" Rosie raised an eyebrow. "Bold choice. She's been Vox's creature for as long as I can remember. She's not happy about it. I've seen the way she looks at him during broadcasts. The way she reacts when he dismisses her ideas." Deku had spent hours analyzing Vox's media empire, looking for weaknesses. Velvette was the biggest one. She wants power of her own. Real power, not just what Vox allows her to have. And you think you can give her that? I think I can show her what it looks like to be valued for more than what she produces. Rosie studied him with something like wonder. "You really do see people, don't you? Not just threats and opportunities. Actual people. It's how I was trained. To understand villains, you have to understand what made them. Their pain, their desires, their breaking points." He shrugged. "Turns out it works for allies too." "Fascinating." Rosie's smile was warm now, genuinely fond. "Very well. I'll arrange a meeting with Velvette. Neutral ground, away from Vox's surveillance. If you can turn her, it would be a significant blow to his network." "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet, darling. Velvette is clever and ambitious. If she thinks you're using her, she'll burn you without hesitation." "I won't be using her. I'll be giving her what she actually wants." "And what's that?" Deku smiled slightly. "Recognition. Respect. The chance to be more than someone's tool." He paused. "Also, probably some chaos. She seems like she'd enjoy chaos." Rosie laughed. "Oh, you have no idea." The meeting was arranged for the following night. The location was a neutral club in the entertainment district, territory that didn't belong to any single overlord, maintained as a kind of demilitarized zone for deals and negotiations. Deku arrived early, scoping out the exits and potential ambush points on instinct. Velvette showed up exactly on time, flanked by two bodyguards who looked nervous about being there. She was smaller than Deku expected from her broadcasts, compact and fierce, with an energy that crackled around her like static. Her eyes found him immediately, assessing, calculating. "So," she said, sliding into the booth across from him. "You're the one who's been giving Vox ulcers. Gotta say, I expected someone bigger." "I get that a lot." "Bet you do." She snapped her fingers and one of her guards produced a tablet. I've been tracking you since day one, Greenie. The crater landing, the fight in Cannibal Town, the alliance with Rosie, the beatdowns on Vox's retrieval teams. You're good content. Really good content. Thanks. It's not a compliment. It's an observation. She swiped through something on the tablet. What I want to know is why. Why are you doing all this? What's the endgame? Changing hell. Velvette snorted. Right. The redemption thing. Charlie's little fantasy project. She leaned back, crossing her arms. You actually believe that crap? I believe people can be better. Even here. That's sweet. Also stupid. This is hell. The whole point is that people can't be better. Then why are you here? Velvette's expression flickered. What do you mean? You came to meet me. You could have ignored Rosie's invitation, told Vox about it, used it to score points. Instead, you're sitting here having a conversation. Deku tilted his head. That means you want something. Something Vox isn't giving you. You don't know anything about what I want. I know you're the most innovative content creator in Pentagram City, and Vox takes credit for half your ideas. I know you've been working with him and Valentino for years, but you're always the junior partner, always the one who gets talked over. I know you're brilliant and ambitious and stuck in a situation where neither of those things matter as much as playing nice with the boys' club. Velvette's expression had gone very still. Her bodyguards shifted uneasily. Who told you all that? She asked quietly. Nobody. I watched. Deku shrugged. I'm good at watching. Good at understanding how people work. So what? You think you can offer me something better? I think you can offer yourself something better. I'm just providing the opportunity. Velvette was silent for a long moment. Her fingers tapped against the table in a rapid, nervous rhythm. What would this opportunity look like? She asked finally. You break from the V's. Publicly. Join my alliance instead. You get full creative control of your content, no interference, no credit stealing. You get a seat at the table when decisions are made. And you get to be part of something that's actually going to change this place. And what do you get? Your media network. Your expertise. Your perspective on how this city works from the inside of its power structure. Deku met her eyes. And maybe, if we're lucky, a friend who actually challenges me instead of just agreeing with everything I say. That startled a laugh out of her. You want me to challenge you? I want people who'll tell me when I'm wrong. Who'll push back on bad ideas. I've got enough yes men in my life. He smiled slightly. Something tells me you're not the yes man type. No shit. But she was smiling too now, something genuine breaking through the defensive armor. You're weird, you know that. Nobody talks like you do. Nobody offers deals like this. I'm from somewhere else. Different rules. Clearly. She drummed her fingers again, faster this time. If I do this, if I break with Vox, there's no going back. He'll come for me. Hard. He'll try. He won't succeed. You sound pretty confident about that. I've been fighting his people for 3 days. They're not as scary as he thinks they are. Deku leaned forward. But more importantly, you won't be alone. Rosie's committed. The Hazbin Hotel's committed. And I'm committed. We protect our own. Velvette studied him for a long moment. Then she pulled out her phone, did something complicated with the screen, and turned it to face him. It was a live broadcast. Her face appeared in a small window in the corner, the club visible behind her. Hey, hell, she said brightly. Velvette here with some breaking news. You know how I've been doing the V thing for forever? Yeah, that's done. I'm out. Partnering with the new guy instead, the green lightning hottie who's been wrecking Vox's shit all week. She grinned at the camera. Stay tuned for more updates. It's gonna get spicy. She ended the broadcast and set the phone down. There. No going back now. Deku blinked. That was faster than I expected. I've been thinking about leaving for a while. You just gave me a reason to actually do it. Velvette stood, extending her hand. Welcome to the chaos, Greenie. Let's see what kind of trouble we can cause. He took her hand. Her grip was strong, her energy infectious. Call me Deku. Deku. She tested the word. Cute. I like it. Her smile turned sharp. Now let's get out of here before Vox's people show up. I give it about 5 minutes before he sees that broadcast and loses his mind. They made it outside in 3. The fallout was immediate. Every screen in Pentagram City lit up with Vox's face, his usual smooth composure cracked by visible fury. Attention, citizens. The broadcast voice crackled with barely contained rage. Velvette has betrayed the V Alliance. Anyone who provides her shelter or aid will be considered an enemy of. The screens flickered. Went static. Then Velvette's face appeared instead, grinning with manic glee. Hi again. Just wanted to let everyone know that I've taken control of about 60% of Vox's broadcast infrastructure. Turns out when you build a system and let someone else take credit for it, they don't know all the backdoors you installed. She waved at the camera. More updates coming soon. Subscribe to my new channel for exclusive content. The screens went dark. Deku stared. You can do that? I built half his network, Greenie. Of course I can do that. Velvette was practically vibrating with excitement. Oh man, his face right now. I wish I could see his face. You just poked the biggest tech overlord in Pentagram City. I did. Isn't it great? She grabbed his arm. Come on, we need to move. He's going to send everything he has after us. They ran. The Hazbin hotel was in full defensive mode when they arrived. Vaggie met them at the door, weapons drawn, expression grim. We saw the broadcast. Both of them. Her eye flicked to Velvette. She's with you. She's with us, Deku confirmed. Great. Come inside. Charlie's freaking out. Charlie was indeed freaking out, pacing the lobby while Husk watched from behind the bar and Nifty darted around cleaning things that were already clean. Deku. Charlie practically tackled him. Are you okay? We saw Velvette's broadcast and then Vox's broadcast and then her broadcast again and, I'm fine. We're fine. He gestured toward Velvette, who was looking around the hotel with poorly disguised curiosity. Everyone, this is Velvette. She just defected from the V's. She's on our side now. Angel Dust descended the stairs, eyebrow raised. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Vel and I go way back. His tone suggested the way back wasn't entirely pleasant. Angel. Velvette's expression cooled slightly. Still working for Valentino? Still pretending you're better than everyone else? Okay. Deku stepped between them. Obviously there's history here. We can deal with that later. Right now, we need to prepare for Vox's response. Already on it. Vaggie moved to a window, peering out. I've got defensive positions mapped. Cherry's setting up explosives on the perimeter, I'm what? Cherry's voice came from somewhere outside. Oh wait, yeah, I am. Boom. An explosion in the distance. Screaming. She's enthusiastic, Vaggie finished. Deku moved to the window. He could feel them coming, multiple energy signatures approaching from different directions. Vox wasn't messing around this time. This wasn't a bounty squad or a retrieval team. This was an army. Everyone get ready, he said. This is going to be a real fight. They came from everywhere. Tech demons poured into the streets around the hotel, armed with weapons that crackled with electric death. Drones filled the air, scanning, targeting, relaying information back to Vox's central command. And leading the charge was Vox himself. He floated above his army, screen face displaying a cold smile. Izuku Midoriya. His voice echoed across the battlefield. You've taken something that belongs to me. I'm here to take it back. Deku stepped out of the hotel, one for all crackling around him. She doesn't belong to anyone. That's kind of the point. How noble. How pathetic. Vox gestured, and his army surged forward. The battle began. Deku met the first wave head-on, moving through the tech demons like a force of nature. His fists connected, his speed blurred reality, green-red lightning arced across the battlefield with every strike. Behind him, his allies fought just as fiercely. Vaggie carved through enemies with precise, deadly efficiency, her movement speaking to centuries of combat training. Every strike was economical, every motion purposeful. She covered Charlie, who was singing. Charlie was singing, and the song was doing something. The demons who heard it hesitated, their aggressive programming glitching slightly. It wasn't enough to stop them, but it was enough to slow them down. Angel Dust had produced an alarming number of firearms from somewhere and was laying down covering fire with all 4 arms. Come on, you silicon bastards. Is that all you got? Cherry Bomb was in her element, laughing maniacally as explosions bloomed across the battlefield. This is the best day ever. Velvette had commandeered a position on the roof, phone in hand, doing something to the drones. One by one, they started turning on each other. Hey Vox, she broadcast. Remember that loyalty programming you never bothered to understand? Yeah, I wrote it. And guess what? Half his drone fleet suddenly switched sides. But it wasn't enough. Vox had brought too many forces, and more kept coming. For every demon Deku knocked down, 2 more took its place. He needed to end this. Decisively. Cover me, he shouted to Vaggie. I'm going for Vox directly. She nodded, shifting position to intercept demons trying to flank him. Deku launched himself at the tech overlord, crossing the distance in a heartbeat. Vox barely managed to raise a defensive barrier in time, a screen of hardened electricity that caught Deku's first punch. The barrier cracked. Vox's expression shifted from confident to surprised. What? Deku hit him again. And again. Each blow cracked the barrier further, green-red lightning overwhelming blue electricity. You made a mistake, Deku said, driving another fist into the weakening defense. Coming here yourself. You should have stayed behind your screens. I am the screen. Vox roared. I am everywhere. You're just another bully. Deku shattered the barrier entirely and grabbed Vox by the throat. And I've been dealing with bullies my whole life. He slammed Vox into the ground hard enough to crater the street. The tech overlord screen face flickered, glitched, displayed static. Call off your army, Deku said, green lightning dancing across his fingers. Or I show everyone watching what happens when you push me too far. Because of course Vox was still broadcasting. He always was. Which meant everyone in Pentagram City was watching their confrontation right now. Vox's screen stabilized enough to show calculation. He was beaten, they both knew it. But he was also a survivor. A pragmatist. All units, withdraw, he ground out. The army stopped. Hesitated. Then began retreating, leaving their fallen behind. Deku released Vox, stepping back. Don't come back here. Don't send anyone else. The Hazbin Hotel is off limits. Understood? Vox pulled himself upright, sparks still dancing across his damaged frame. His expression was pure hatred. This isn't over, he hissed. You're right. It isn't. Deku turned his back on the tech overlord, a deliberate insult, and walked toward the hotel. But the next move is mine. He heard Vox vanish in a burst of electricity, fleeing before Deku could change his mind. The battle was over. The aftermath was chaos of a different kind. Cherry was bouncing around the damaged street, cataloging the debris with childlike excitement. Angel was collecting weapons from fallen tech demons. Vaggie was checking everyone for injuries with military efficiency. And Charlie was staring at Deku with an expression he couldn't quite read. That was. She struggled for words. You just. Vox is one of the most powerful overlords in the city and you just. Beat him. Yeah. Deku flexed his hands, checking for damage. Nothing serious. He's not as tough as he thinks he is. You held back. He looked at her sharply. What? I could feel it. Your power. You were holding back the whole time. Charlie's eyes were wide. How strong are you, really? Deku thought about how to answer. The truth was he didn't fully know. One for All had grown so much since he'd arrived in Hell, and he was still discovering new depths to its power. Strong enough, he said finally. Charlie was quiet for a moment. Then she did something unexpected, she hugged him. Not the excited, bouncing hugs from before. A real hug, tight and desperate, her face pressed against his chest. Thank you, she whispered. For protecting us. For protecting everything I'm trying to build. Deku hesitated, then wrapped his arms around her. That's what I'm here for. I know. I just. She pulled back slightly, looking up at him. I'm not used to having someone actually fight for me. Fight with me. It's always been just me and Vaggie against everything. Not anymore. Something shifted in her expression. Something warmer, more vulnerable. Deku, Charlie. Vaggie's voice cut through the moment. We need to secure the perimeter. There might be stragglers. Charlie stepped back, composing herself. Right. Coming. She glanced at Deku one more time, something unspoken in her eyes, before hurrying to help Vaggie. Deku watched her go, processing what had almost happened. What might have been said. She likes you. He turned to find Velvette beside him, arms crossed, expression amused. I'm aware that I'm supposed to be a new recruit and probably shouldn't be commenting on the boss's love life, she continued, but wow, she really likes you. It's not like that. Sure it isn't. Velvette's grin was knowing. Just like it's not like that, with Rosie, who I hear gave you a very friendly greeting last time you visited. Deku felt his face heat up. How do you know about that? I know everything about everyone. It's my job. She patted his arm. Don't worry, Greenie. I'm not judging. You've got options. Good options. That's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to. I don't want to play games with anyone's feelings. Who said anything about games? Velvette shrugged. This is hell. Relationships work different here. Power couples, alliances, harems, all perfectly normal. If multiple people want to be with you and you want to be with them, that's not a problem. That's an opportunity. Deku stared at her. Harems? Oh my god, you're adorable. She laughed. Has nobody explained this to you? Powerful demons often have multiple partners. It's how you build dynasties, consolidate power, ensure your legacy continues. Why do you think overlords are always making deals and alliances through marriage or other arrangements? That's practical, strategic, also potentially really fun. Velvette's grin widened. Look, I'm not saying you need to run out and start collecting girlfriends. I'm just saying that if it happens naturally, hell won't judge you for it. And neither will they. She walked away before he could respond, leaving Deku standing in the ruined street, processing information that was going to require significant mental reorganization. The next few days were busy. Word of Vox's defeat spread fast. Suddenly, demons who had been neutral or hostile were approaching the hotel with offers of alliance, support, or at least non-aggression. The power dynamics of Pentagram City were shifting, and everyone wanted to be on the winning side. Deku spent most of his time in meetings, negotiations, and defensive planning. Charlie worked alongside him, her political knowledge proving invaluable. Vaggie handled security. Velvette rebuilt their media presence from the ground up. And somewhere in the chaos, relationships continued to develop. Rosie visited daily, bringing supplies and information from Cannibal Town. Her visits always seemed to end with them alone somewhere, talking, touching, exploring the connection that neither of them fully understood but both wanted to pursue. "You're building an empire," she said one evening, lying beside him on a couch in one of the hotel's private rooms. "Whether you intended to or not. I'm building a coalition. There's a difference." "Is there?" She traced a finger along his jaw. "You have territory. Allies. A growing army. People who follow you, fight for you, believe in you." Her eyes met his. "That's an empire, darling. You just haven't named it yet. I don't want to rule anything. I just want to help. Sometimes those are the same thing." She kissed him softly. "The best rulers don't want power. They want to make things better. Power is just how they do it." Deku thought about that. About what he was becoming. About what it might mean for his future in hell. "If I'm building an empire," he said slowly, "I need people I trust. People who'll be honest with me, support me, challenge me. You have those people. I need more." He met her eyes. I don't know how to say this. Partners." Rosie smiled, understanding. "Not subordinates. Not servants. Equals who share your vision and your life." "Yeah. That. And you're worried about asking for that. About wanting it." She sat up slightly, looking at him seriously. "Izuku. You're allowed to want things. You're allowed to have more than duty and purpose. That's not weakness. That's being alive. I wasn't very good at that when I was actually alive. I've noticed." Her expression softened. "But you're learning. And you have people who want to help you learn." She kissed him again, deeper this time. Deku stopped thinking about empires and allowed himself to just feel. The situation with Valentino came to a head unexpectedly. Deku was in the lobby, reviewing defense reports, when angel dust descended the stairs. The spider demon looked wrong. More withdrawn than usual, his movements stiff, his expression tight. "Angel?" Charlie noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." His voice was too casual. "Just got a message. Val wants to see me." The temperature in the room dropped. "You're not going," Vaggie said immediately. "Don't have a choice, babe. Contract says when he calls, I come." Angel's laugh was hollow. "Literally." Deku set down his reports. "Tell me about this contract." "It's nothing. Just business." Angel wouldn't meet his eyes. "Look, it's fine. I'll go, let him yell at me for a few hours, come back. No big deal." "Angel." Charlie moved toward him, voice gentle. "You don't have to pretend with us. We know what he does to you. You don't know shit." Angel's voice cracked. "You don't know what he's like when he's really mad. And he's really mad right now because of Velvette, because of all of this, and he wants someone to take it out on, then don't go." "I can't, Angel." Deku stood, crossing the room to face the spider demon directly. "If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. Contract or no contract. You don't understand. Contracts in hell are binding. Literally. If I don't go when he calls, it's pain. Real pain. Soul deep pain that makes normal torture look like a spa day. Then we break the contract. Angel laughed bitterly. You can't just break, watch me. Deku's voice was quiet but absolute. Tell me where to find him. Valentino's studio was exactly the kind of place Deku expected it to be. Gaudy. Excessive. Dripping with a particular kind of sleaze that made his skin crawl. The Moth Overlord had built his empire on exploitation and cruelty, packaging misery as entertainment and calling it business. Deku walked through the front door like he owned the place. The guards tried to stop him. They failed. He didn't even slow down. Valentino was waiting in what appeared to be a massive office, surrounded by screens showing various acts that Deku deliberately didn't look at. The Moth Demon was lounging on a couch shaped like something inappropriate, a cigarette holder between his fingers. Well, Valentino drawled, not even bothering to stand. The new player. Come to negotiate for your little spider friend. No negotiations. Deku stopped in the center of the room. You're going to release Angel Dust from his contract. Right now. Valentino laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. Or what? Or I'm going to break every bone in your body, destroy everything you've built, and make what I did to Vox look like a gentle warning. The laughter stopped. Valentino's eyes narrowed. You don't know who you're threatening, boy. I've been running this city since before your grandparents were born. I've broken more souls than you've ever met. One jumped-up newcomer doesn't scare me. It should. Deku moved. One moment he was across the room. The next, his hand was around Valentino's throat. The Moth Demon slammed against the wall with enough force to crack the foundation. Let me explain something, Deku said, green lightning crackling across his body. I've fought gods. Real ones. Beings powerful enough to reshape reality with a thought. I've faced things that would make you curl up and cry for your mother. He tightened his grip. You're not even close to the scariest thing I've dealt with. Valentino wheezed, clawing at Deku's hand. His bodyguards were unconscious or fled. Deku had dealt with them without even breaking focus. The contract, Deku repeated. Now. Fuck you, Deku slammed him against the wall again. And again. And again. I can do this all day, he said conversationally. I can do this for years. Hell is eternal, right? Plenty of time. Or you can release Angel from his contract and we can both move on with our lives. You can't, you won't. Valentino was actually scared now, his composure cracking. If you kill me, another Overlord will just take my territory. I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to hurt you. Permanently. Creatively. In ways that make sure every demon in Pentagram City knows what happens when you touch something that's mine. Yours. The spider belongs to me. Deku's fist connected with Valentino's face. The Moth Demon's expensive sunglasses shattered. Along with most of his jaw. Try again, Deku suggested. The beating continued for another 3 minutes. By the end, Valentino was a broken mess, barely conscious, his fancy suit ruined and his pride in worse condition. The contract, Deku said one final time. Valentino made a gurgling sound and produced a scroll from somewhere. He touched it with a bloody finger, and the paper dissolved into ash. Done, he gasped. It's done. The spider's free. Now get out, Deku dropped him. Looked around the office at the screens, the trophies, the evidence of decades of exploitation. One more thing, he said. He let one for all loose. Just for a moment. Just enough. The studio came down around Valentino's ears, buried in rubble and fire and the wrath of something the Moth Demon had severely underestimated. Deku walked out of the smoking ruins and headed back to the hotel. Angel Dust cried. Deku hadn't expected that. He'd expected relief, maybe gratitude, possibly anger that he'd interfered. But Angel just sat on the lobby couch and cried, ugly, heaving sobs that shook his whole body. Charlie held him. Vaggie stood guard. Husk produced the good alcohol. And Deku waited, giving Angel space to process freedom for the first time in God knew how long. Eventually, the sobs subsided. Angel looked up, mascara running, and laughed wetly. Holy shit, he said. You actually did it. You actually, I said I would. Yeah, but people say lots of things. Nobody ever. Angel wiped his eyes. Nobody ever followed through before. Not for me. That's over now. You're part of this hotel. Part of this family. We protect each other. Angel stared at him for a long moment. Then he started laughing again, but it was different this time, relieved, almost hysterical. You're insane, he said. You know that, right? Vox, Valentino, you're making enemies with every powerful demon in the city. I know. And you don't care? Not really. Deku shrugged. They're bullies. I've been dealing with bullies since I was 4 years old. The scale changes, but the principle doesn't. Angel looked at him like he was seeing him for the first time. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, he said. Okay. I'm in. Whatever you're building, whatever you need, I'm in. For real this time. Deku smiled. Good. We're going to need everyone. The celebrations that night were loud and cathartic. Everyone drank too much. Even Deku, who discovered that hellish alcohol hit different when you were already dead. Songs were sung badly. Stories were told. Cherry set something on fire that probably shouldn't have been flammable. At some point, Deku found himself on the roof again, needing air. Charlie found him there. Hey, she said softly, settling beside him. Hey. That was a good thing you did. For Angel. It was the right thing. There's a difference. Is there? She was quiet for a moment. I've been trying to do the right thing for so long. But I never had the power to make it stick. People would come to the hotel, and I'd help them, but I couldn't protect them when they left. Couldn't stop the Overlords from hurting them. All I could do was watch. That's changing. Because of you. She turned to look at him. Deku, I don't know how to say this without it sounding weird, but you're the best thing that's happened to this hotel. To me. You make me feel like maybe it's not all hopeless. Like maybe we can actually win. We can. We will. You really believe that? I do. He met her eyes. I've believed in impossible things my whole life. Most of them came true. Charlie's breath caught. She was so close now, close enough that he could count her eyelashes. Deku, she whispered. Can I? She didn't finish the question. She just leaned in and kissed him. It was softer than Rosie's kisses. Sweeter. There was an innocence to it despite everything. Charlie was ancient by human standards but still somehow managed to carry a purity that had survived all of Hell's attempts to crush it. Deku kissed her back, gentle, careful, treating her like something precious. When they broke apart, Charlie's eyes were bright. I've wanted to do that for days, she admitted. But I wasn't sure if you. I mean, I know you and Rosie have something, and I didn't want to, Charlie. He cupped her face in his hands. You're not intruding on anything. Rosie and I talked about this. About you. About what this could be. You talked about me. She said she'd be disappointed if I didn't pursue you. That someone like you deserved to be pursued. Charlie's laugh was watery. That's so weird. But also kind of sweet. That's Rosie. And you want this? Want me? I want you. I want Rosie. I want to build something with both of you, and maybe others, if that's how things develop. He paused. Is that okay? I know it's not traditional, Deku. Charlie kissed him again, quick and bright. This is hell. Nothing here is traditional. And honestly, I've been alone for so long, wanting something real, wanting someone who actually believes in what I'm doing. Her smile was radiant. I don't care about traditional. I care about you. They stayed on the roof for a long time, talking, touching, exploring this new territory between them. And when they finally went back inside, Charlie's hand in his, something fundamental had shifted. Deku had come to hell alone. He wasn't alone anymore. Vaggie confronted him the next morning. She was waiting in the hallway outside his room, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Deku had been expecting this conversation, had been dreading it, honestly. We need to talk, she said. I know. They moved to an empty room. Vaggie closed the door, checking that they were alone. I saw you with Charlie last night. Vaggie, don't apologize. Her voice was sharp. Just, don't. I'm not mad. I'm not even surprised. Charlie's been alone since we broke up, and you're exactly the kind of person she'd fall for. You two broke up. Months ago. We realized we worked better as partners than as partners. Vaggie's expression softened slightly. She needs someone who can match her energy. Someone who believes as hard as she does. That's never been me. I wouldn't be trying to replace you, I know. That's not what this conversation is about. She uncrossed her arms, looking suddenly vulnerable. I've been watching you, Deku. Since you arrived. I've been suspicious and hostile and waiting for you to show your true colors. And I was wrong. The word seemed to cost her something. You're the real thing. A hero. Someone who actually fights for what they believe in and backs it up with action. I try to be. I know. That's the problem. She stepped closer. I spent centuries as an angel, killing sinners. I thought I was righteous. I thought I was good. Then I fell and realized everything I believed was a lie. Her single eye met his. But watching you, you're what I thought I was. What I wanted to be. And I don't know how to feel about that. Vaggie, I'm not finished. She took a breath. I like you. Against my better judgment, against every instinct telling me not to trust anyone, I like you. And I need to know what that means for us. Deku considered his response carefully. Vaggie wasn't like Charlie or Rosie. She was harder, more guarded, with wounds that went deeper than most. What do you want it to mean? He asked finally. I don't know. I've never. I'm not good at this. At feelings. At letting people in. She laughed bitterly. Charlie used to say I had walls made of walls. Walls can be useful. They protect you. They also keep everything out. She met his eyes again. I don't want to be kept out. Of whatever you're building with Charlie, with Rosie, with this whole thing. I want to be part of it. You already are. You're integral to everything we're doing, that's not what I mean, and you know it. Deku nodded slowly. Okay. Then, we figure it out together. No pressure. No expectations. Just, honesty about what we're feeling and where it leads. That's simple. Nothing's ever simple. But we try anyway. Vaggie was quiet for a long moment. Then, surprising them both, she pulled him into a hug. It was stiff and awkward and obviously unpracticed, but it was real. Thank you, she whispered. For being patient with me. Always. When she pulled back, there was something new in her expression. Hope, maybe. Or possibility. Well, she said, composing herself. That was sufficiently awkward. Let's never speak of this vulnerability again. Deku laughed. Noted. Good. Now come on. Charlie has a new rehabilitation scheme she wants to present, and someone needs to tell her that singing probably won't solve everything. She sings. Oh, you haven't experienced the full Charlie yet. Trust me. You will. The days that followed were a strange mixture of domestic warmth and escalating tension. The hotel became a hub of activity. Rehabilitated sinners started arriving, drawn by word of mouth about the new sanctuary. Rosie's forces patrolled the perimeter. Velvette's media presence ensured their message reached every corner of Pentagram City. And the relationships continued to deepen. Rosie claimed 2 nights a week, appearing at the hotel to spirit Deku away to Cannibal Town for dinners that turned into evenings that turned into mornings. Their physical relationship intensified, but so did the emotional connection, long conversations about power and morality and the possibility of redemption. You've changed me, Rosie admitted one night, lying in his arms. I didn't think that was possible anymore. How? I used to see everyone as either threat or food. Categories. Nothing in between. She traced patterns on his chest. But you look at me and see a person. Even knowing what I am, what I've done. That's significant. You are a person. Everything else is just what you've done. Is there a difference? I think so. Otherwise, no one could ever change. Rosie was quiet for a moment. Then she laughed softly. You really are going to do it, aren't you? Change hell itself. I'm going to try. Then I suppose I'd better stay close. Someone has to document the miracle when it happens. Charlie's presence in his life was equally transformative but in different ways. Where Rosie was controlled and elegant, Charlie was enthusiastic and warm. Their time together was filled with planning sessions that turned into heart-to-hearts that turned into something more. Their first real night together happened almost by accident. They'd been working late, reviewing rehabilitation progress, when Charlie yawned and leaned against his shoulder. Sorry, she mumbled. Long day. You should rest. But I like being here with you. She looked up at him with those bright eyes. Is that weird to say? Not weird. Good. She shifted closer. Deku, can I ask you something? Always. When you were alive, did you ever have anyone? A relationship, I mean. Deku thought about it. Not really. I was so focused on becoming a hero, on saving people, that I never made time for that. That's sad. I didn't feel sad about it. It was just priorities. But now, things are different. He looked at her. I have time. I have people who matter to me. I'm learning that it's okay to want things for myself, not just for others. Charlie smiled. Good. Because I want things too. She kissed him. Softly at first, then deeper. The paperwork was forgotten. Later, lying together in her bed, Charlie traced the scars on his hands. You've been hurt so much, she whispered. It was worth it. Will you be hurt again? For this? For what we're building? Probably. And you'll keep going anyway. That's what heroes do. Charlie's expression crumpled slightly. I don't want you to get hurt. I know. But I can't promise safety. Not in hell. Not when there's still so much to do. He tilted her chin up. What I can promise is that I'll always come back. That no matter what happens, you won't lose me. Promise? Promise. She believed him. Deku could see it in her eyes. And he meant every word. Vagi's development was slower, more tentative. But it was happening. They started with sparring. Physical combat was where Vagi was most comfortable, and Deku was always looking to improve his technique. Their sessions were intense, competitive, and increasingly charged with something neither of them named. "You're holding back," Vaggie accused one morning, after he blocked her seventh killing strike without counterattacking. "I don't want to hurt you. I'm not fragile. I know. But you're also important to me. And one for all isn't great for gentle sparring." Vaggie attacked again, faster this time. He caught her wrist, redirecting her momentum, and suddenly she was pressed against him, their faces inches apart. "This isn't just sparring anymore, is it?" she asked quietly. "I don't think it has been for a while." The kiss was her initiation this time. Aggressive, demanding, a little desperate. Vaggie kissed like she fought, no hesitation, total commitment. "I still don't know how to do this," she admitted when they broke apart. "Feelings. Trust. All of it. Neither do I. We're making it up as we go. Is that okay?" "It's perfect." Velvette was different from all of them. Their relationship was built on creative energy and competitive banter. She challenged him constantly, pushed back on ideas she thought were stupid, and never let him get too comfortable with success. "You're getting complacent," she announced one afternoon, bursting into a planning meeting uninvited. "I defeated Vox 3 days ago." "Exactly. 3 days. That's ancient history." She jabbed a finger at him. "What have you done since then?" "Sat around being cozy with your girlfriends while the city forgets you exist." "We've been consolidating." "Boring. You need to stay in the conversation. Stay relevant." She shoved her phone in his face, showing analytics. "Your mentions are down 12%. 12. That's unacceptable. Is this a relationship conversation or a marketing conversation?" "Both. Everything is marketing." She paused, then grinned. "But also yes, it's a relationship conversation. Because I've decided I'm part of whatever this is you're doing with the others, and if I'm going to share, I'm not going to share with someone who's getting stale." "You've decided?" "Yep. Discussed it with Rosie and Charlie last week. We're all on board." She sat in his lap without asking permission. "So here's the deal, I bring media expertise, creative vision, and incredible chemistry. You bring the muscle, the moral compass, and that stupidly pretty face. Together, we're unstoppable. Did you just plan your way into my relationship?" "I planned my way into your life. The relationship is a bonus." She kissed him. "Deal with it." Deku found himself laughing despite everything. "Has anyone ever told you you're completely insane?" "Frequently. It's part of my charm." She wasn't wrong. The attack came without warning. Deku was in the hotel lobby, reviewing supply requests, when every screen in the building activated simultaneously. Vox's face appeared, not angry this time, but smug. "Hello, Hazbin Hotel." His voice echoed through the speakers. "I have a special announcement." Vaggie drew her weapon. "How is he broadcasting here?" "I thought Velvette secured our systems." "I did." Velvette's voice came from upstairs. "This isn't a hack. He's using celestial transmission frequencies," Vox confirmed. "Courtesy of my new partners. Say hello to the angels, everyone." The windows shattered. They came through every opening, golden armored figures, wielding weapons that glowed with holy light. Not the crude exterminators from the annual purges. Something else. Something worse. Heaven's direct intervention force, Vaggie breathed, her face going pale. "Oh no. Oh no no no, surprise." Vox's laugh was manic. "Turns out the big guys upstairs are very interested in your little green friend. Something about him being a dimensional anomaly that needs to be corrected. He sold us out to heaven." Deku's voice was calm, but one for all was already surging through his body. "He actually sold out hell to heaven. He was always a coward. Rosie materialized from the shadows, blood already on her dress. How do you want to handle this, darling? Deku assessed the situation. A dozen angels, at least. Vox's forces presumably waiting outside. The hotel full of vulnerable sinners who couldn't fight back. Rosie, Vaggie, evacuate everyone through the back. Charlie, go with them. I'm not leaving you, Charlie started. I need you to protect them. You're the only one who can. He met her eyes. Please. She hesitated. Then nodded, grabbing Vaggie's arm. Come on. Let's go. They vanished into the back of the hotel with Rosie, gathering the confused and frightened sinners as they went. That left Deku, Velvette, Cherry, and Angel facing a dozen angels and a very smug Vox. You know, Angel said conversationally, I used to think dying once was enough. Turns out, nope. Nobody's dying, Deku said. Not today. He launched himself at the nearest angel. The fight was chaos. Angels weren't like demons, they were faster, stronger, and their weapons could actually kill souls permanently. Deku had to fight at a level he'd been avoiding, unleashing one for all in ways that made the air itself shake. He shattered one angel's weapon with a punch. Sent another through a wall with a kick. The green-red lightning was everywhere now, filling the lobby with deadly light. Behind him, Cherry was laughing maniacally, throwing explosives that the angels struggled to dodge. Angel Dust had produced weapons that glowed with the same holy light as the angels, where had he gotten those, and was actually holding his own. Velvette wasn't fighting. She was recording. And broadcasting. Hey hell, she shouted into her phone. Are you seeing this? Vox made a deal with heaven. He's letting angels into Pentagram City to kill sinners. Is this who you want running the tech industry? The screens flickered. Vox's smug face disappeared, replaced by chaos, footage from all over the city as demons reacted to the news. You little, Vox's voice cut through the static. Stop broadcasting. Make me, traitor. Deku took down another angel, then two more. But they kept coming. And more importantly, they were learning. Adapting to his fighting style. Getting harder to hit. A blade of holy light carved across his arm. Pain, real pain, deeper than anything hell had thrown at him, shot through his body. First blood, an angel crowed. The anomaly can be hurt. Everyone can be hurt, Deku said through gritted teeth. That doesn't mean you'll win. He pushed harder. 40%. 50. 60. The hotel groaned around him, structure struggling to contain the energy he was unleashing. But it wasn't enough. There were too many of them, and they had weapons that could actually threaten him. Then Alastor appeared. The radio demon materialized in the center of the lobby, that eternal smile somehow even more unsettling than usual. Shadows spiraled around him, the temperature dropping 20 degrees in an instant. Now this is entertainment. His voice crackled with static and something else, something hungry. Angels in hell. Making deals with sinners. The universe really has gone mad. Alastor. One of the angels raised his weapon. Stand aside. We're not here for you. Oh, I know. You're here for my colleague. Alastor's smile widened impossibly. And I'm afraid that's not acceptable. He unleashed his power. The shadows came alive. Tentacles of pure darkness erupted from every corner, grabbing angels and pulling them into places that shouldn't exist. The screaming was brief but intense. Deku and Alastor fought side by side, covering each other's blind spots, their very different powers complementing in ways neither had expected. It lasted 5 minutes. When it was over, the angels were defeated, some destroyed, others fled, a few captured and bound in Alastor's shadows. The hotel was a wreck. But everyone had survived. Well, Alastor said, brushing dust off his jacket. That was invigorating. You helped us. I did. The radio demon's eyes gleamed. Consider it a preview of future cooperation. We have much to discuss, you and I. Before Deku could respond, the others were rushing back in. Deku. Charlie threw herself at him, checking his wound with frantic hands. You're hurt. You're actually hurt. It's healing. One for all speeds up recovery. He pulled her close. Everyone's safe. Everyone's safe. Rosie appeared at his side, elegant despite the chaos. Although the back entrance will need some repairs. I've got footage going viral across every platform, Velvette reported, phone still in hand. Vox is done. Every demon in the city knows what he did. He's finished. Vaggie was already organizing defense rotations. Angel was collecting the fallen angels' weapons with professional interest. Cherry was trying to put out a fire she'd accidentally started. Somehow, impossibly, they'd won. But Deku knew this was just the beginning. Heaven wasn't going to give up because of one failed attack. They'd come back. Stronger. More determined. He looked at the people around him, his allies, his partners, his family. They were all watching him, waiting for him to say something. Okay, he said. Time to stop playing defense. What do you mean? Charlie asked. I mean we've been reacting. Dealing with threats as they come. But that's not working. We need to take control. Make some moves of our own. Like what? Deku thought about it. About power structures and political realities and the fundamental nature of hell itself. I'm going to claim Vox's territory, he said. And Valentino's. Every overlord who's stood against us, their domains become ours. We consolidate everything under one banner. That's. Vaggie's eye widened. That's an overlord-level power play. You'd be declaring yourself ruler of half the city. I know. People will fight you. Other overlords won't just accept it. Then they'll learn why they should. Deku's expression was calm but absolute. I didn't come to hell to be anyone's victim. And I'm done letting bullies set the rules. Rosie was smiling. And there it is. The empire I knew you'd build. It's not an empire. It's a coalition. Call it whatever you want, darling. She kissed his cheek. I'll support it regardless. Charlie's hand found his. We'll support it. All of us. Looking around the ruined lobby, surrounded by the people who'd fought and bled beside him, Deku felt something he hadn't felt since dying. Hope. Real hope. Then let's get to work. Chapter 3, What Heroes Do in Hell. The war for Pentagram City began at dawn. Deku stood on the roof of the Hazbin Hotel, watching the sun, or whatever passed for a sun in hell, crawl over the twisted skyline. Behind him, his army was assembling. Not the ragtag group of survivors from 3 weeks ago. Something bigger. Something that could actually challenge the old order. Rosie's cannibals formed the backbone, disciplined, hungry, and utterly loyal to their overlord. Velvette's media drones circled overhead, ready to broadcast every moment of the coming conflict. The rehabilitated sinners from the hotel had volunteered as support, running supplies and communications. And at the center of it all, his inner circle. Charlie appeared at his side, wearing armor that looked completely wrong on someone so cheerful. The scouts report Vox has barricaded himself in his broadcast tower. He's got maybe a third of his original forces, the rest defected after the Heaven thing came out. What about his allies? Most of the minor overlords are staying neutral. They're waiting to see who wins before picking sides. She paused. A few have already sent messages offering support. If we win today, they'll fall in line. We'll win. I know. She squeezed his hand. I just wish it didn't have to be like this. War. Violence. Everything I tried to avoid. Sometimes you have to fight to protect what matters. The violence isn't the goal, it's the price. Deku turned to face her. After today, we build something better. I promise. Charlie nodded, composing herself. Okay. Let's go end this. The assault on Vox's tower was coordinated chaos. Deku led the main force through the front, drawing fire and attention while Vaggi's strike teams infiltrated from below. Cherry handled demolitions, systematically destroying the tower's defensive systems with explosive enthusiasm. And Velvette waged information war from a mobile command post, hijacking Vox's remaining broadcast capabilities and turning them against him. Attention Pentagram City. Her voice echoed from every screen. This is your regularly scheduled programming interruption. Vox is going down, and you're all invited to watch. Deku punched through a wall of automated defenses, one for all singing through his body. The green-red lightning had become almost comfortable now, a natural extension of himself rather than something he had to control. Tech demons swarmed him. He cut through them like water, each strike precise and economical. No wasted motion. No excessive force. Just enough to neutralize each threat and move on. Damn, Greenie. Angel Dust fell into step beside him, all four arms wielding glowing weapons. You make this look easy. It's not easy. I've just done it a lot. Fair enough. Angel blasted a drone out of the air. So what's the plan when we reach the big screen himself? I talk to him. Give him one chance to surrender. And when he doesn't take it? Deku's expression didn't change. Then I do what needs to be done. They pushed deeper into the tower. Vox's remaining forces put up resistance, but it was desperate, disorganized. The tech overlord had lost too much, too many allies, too much credibility, too many resources. He was fighting a losing battle and everyone knew it. They found him on the top floor, surrounded by screens showing chaos across the city. His empire, crumbling in real time. Midoriya. Vox's voice crackled with static and barely contained rage. You've destroyed everything I built. You destroyed it yourself. The moment you made a deal with heaven, you lost. Deku stepped forward, lightning flickering across his body. Surrender. It's over. Over. Vox laughed, a harsh, broken sound. It's not over until I say it's over. He attacked. The tech overlord had upgraded himself specifically for this confrontation. His body crackled with stolen celestial energy, his attacks carried the sting of holy light. He was faster than before, stronger, more desperate. It didn't matter. Deku caught his first punch, redirected it, and countered with a strike that sent Vox through 3 walls. Before the overlord could recover, Deku was on him again, each blow methodical, precise, devastating. You sold out your own realm, Deku said, driving another fist into Vox's cracked screen face. You invited angels to kill your own people. For what? Because you couldn't handle losing? I was protecting my empire, you were protecting your ego. Deku grabbed him by the throat, lifting him off the ground. That's not the same thing. He slammed Vox into the floor hard enough to crater the foundation. The tech overlord's form flickered, glitched, started to destabilize. Mercy, Vox gasped, his arrogance finally cracking. Please. I'll leave. I'll give you everything. Just let me live. Deku looked down at him. At this broken, desperate creature who had caused so much pain, betrayed so many people, nearly handed hell itself to heaven out of spite. You don't deserve mercy, he said quietly. But I'm going to give it to you anyway. Not because you've earned it. Because that's who I am. He released Vox, stepping back. Leave Pentagram City. Leave and never come back. If I ever see you again, there won't be a second chance. Vox stared at him in disbelief. Then, without a word, he vanished, a burst of corrupted electricity fleeing into the network, going somewhere far away. The screens throughout the tower went dark. Deku let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Holy shit. Velvette's voice came through his comm, you actually let him go. It was the right call. Was it though? He's just going to spend the next century plotting revenge. Probably. But killing him wouldn't have solved that problem either. Deku turned toward the exit. Besides, we've got bigger things to worry about. The angels? The angels. Heaven's response came faster than expected. 3 days after Vox's defeat, the sky over Pentagram City split open. Not the usual extermination portal, something bigger, more deliberate. A gateway between realms, maintained by power that made Deku's danger sense scream. They emerged in formation. Hundreds of angels, armed and armored, led by a figure that radiated authority like a physical force. Ezreal. Archangel of Judgment. Deku had gathered every available fighter at the edge of the city, forming a defensive line. Rosie's forces on the left, the hotel's people in the center, allied demons on the right. Every overlord who'd pledged support was here, either fighting or commanding forces. Even Alastor had come, his shadows writhing with barely contained hunger. Well, the radio demon said, that eternal smile somehow even sharper than usual. This is certainly exciting. Can we win? Deku asked quietly. Honestly? I'm not certain. That archangel is substantial. Alastor's eyes gleamed. But then again, so are you. Ezreal descended from the formation, hovering above the battlefield with casual arrogance. His voice echoed across the city, amplified by celestial power. Izuku Midoriya. You are a dimensional anomaly. Your presence threatens the fundamental balance of the afterlife. Surrender yourself for correction, and these realms will be spared. And if I refuse? Then Pentagram City will be purged. Every soul within it, destroyed permanently. This is not negotiable. Deku looked back at his army. At Charlie, wearing that absurd armor, trying to look brave. At Vaggie, gripping her weapon with white knuckles. At Rosie, elegant even now, watching him with absolute faith. At Velvette, still broadcasting, making sure the whole city saw what was happening. At Angel, Cherry, Husk, Nifty, all of them ready to fight and die for something they believed in. He turned back to Ezreal. You want me? Come and get me. The Battle of Pentagram City lasted 6 hours. Later, demons would debate the exact sequence of events, argue about who did what and when. Songs would be written, stories told, legends born. But in the moment, it was simply chaos, beautiful, terrible, world-shaking chaos. Deku fought at the front, one for all blazing brighter than it ever had. Every lesson he'd learned in life, every technique he'd mastered, every drop of power the quirk had accumulated across 9 generations, all of it poured into this single desperate stand. He faced angels by the dozen, shattering their formations, breaking their weapons, sending them fleeing or falling. The green-red lightning had become almost blinding, a beacon visible across the entire city. But for every angel he defeated, more pressed forward. They were endless. Relentless. Driven by celestial certainty that they were in the right. Rosie fought beside him for the first hour, her elegant violence complementing his raw power. They moved together like dancers, covering each other's weaknesses, amplifying each other's strengths. Having fun, darling, she called out, decapitating an angel with a casual swipe. Is that what this is? It's the most alive I've felt in centuries. She laughed, blood splashing across her dress. Whatever happens, I want you to know, I don't regret any of it. We're not dying today, Rosie. I know. I'm just being dramatic. She kicked an angel in the chest, sending him flying. It's my prerogative. Charlie's power manifested in unexpected ways. Her singing actually affected the battlefield, not as a weapon, but as a shield. Where her voice reached, demons fought harder, endured more, refused to fall. It was like hope made tangible, a counterpoint to heaven's cold judgment. Vaggie was everywhere, leading strike teams against angel commanders, exploiting weaknesses she remembered from her time on the other side. Her knowledge of angelic tactics was invaluable, letting them anticipate and counter heaven's strategies. Velvette's broadcast network became the nervous system of the defense, coordinating forces across the city, warning of flanking maneuvers, keeping morale high by showing everyone that they were winning, or at least not losing. Alastor was terrifying. The radio demon stopped pretending. Stopped holding back. His true form emerged, shadows that devoured light, voices that drove angels mad, power that had been ancient when heaven was young. He carved a path through the celestial forces, leaving nothing but static and screaming in his wake. But Ezreal was still coming. The Archangel had held back, watching his forces clash against Hell's defenders, assessing, calculating. Now he moved, descending toward the battlefield with purpose. Enough. His voice shook the city. Angels froze. Demons faltered. Even Alastor paused, shadows recoiling from the pure divine light. Izuku Midoriya. Face me. End this. Deku stepped forward. The crowd parted, angels, demons, allies, everyone making space for what was about to happen. If I win, Deku said, you leave. All of you. And you don't come back. And if I win? You won't. Ezreal smiled. It was not a kind expression. Such confidence. Let us see if it's warranted. The fight with Ezreal was the hardest thing Deku had ever done. Not because the Archangel was stronger than All for One. Not because his power exceeded the villains Deku had faced in life. But because Ezreal was fighting with absolute certainty, no doubt, no hesitation, no mercy. He believed he was righteous. He believed he was saving reality itself. And some part of Deku wondered if he might be right. Their first exchange shattered the ground beneath them, creating a crater that swallowed an entire city block. Deku's punch met Ezreal's blade, and the resulting shockwave sent everyone else flying backward. Your power is impressive, Ezreal admitted, pressing forward with impossible speed. But it doesn't belong here. You know this. I know I'm protecting people who need protecting. Deku deflected a slash, countered with a kick that Ezreal barely blocked. That's all I've ever done. And in doing so, you disrupt the natural order. Hell exists for a reason. These souls are damned for a reason. Maybe the reason is wrong. Blasphemy. Truth. They clashed again and again, tearing through the city, their battle creating destruction on a scale that would have seemed impossible a month ago. Deku pushed himself further than ever, 60%, 70, 80, and still Ezreal matched him. The Archangel's blade found his shoulder. Holy fire burned through his body, pain beyond anything he'd experienced in hell. Deku screamed but didn't fall. You should have stayed dead, Ezreal said, driving the blade deeper. You should have accepted your fate. Heroes don't accept fate, Deku gasped. We fight it. He grabbed the blade with his bare hands, ignoring the agony as divine metal burned his flesh. Green-red lightning surged through his body, up the blade, into Ezreal. The Archangel's eyes widened. What, one for all isn't just strength. Deku pulled himself along the blade, getting closer despite the pain. It's the will of everyone who carried it before me. All their determination. All their hope. All their refusal to give up. He headbutted Ezreal. The Archangel staggered. I'm not just fighting for myself. Deku pressed forward, raining blows that cracked divine armor. I'm fighting for Charlie, who believes everyone deserves a chance. For Rosie, who's trying to be better than she was. For Vaggie, who fell from grace and found something worth protecting. Each name came with a punch. Each punch hit harder than the last. For Angel, who survived things that should have broken him. For Velvette, who refused to be someone's tool. For Cherry, who just wants to matter. For everyone in that city who's been told they're irredeemable. Ezreal was on the defensive now, struggling to counter the onslaught. Impossible, I'm fighting for everyone who ever needed a hero and didn't have one. Deku's power peaked, one for all, reaching heights it had never touched before. And I'm going to win. The final punch connected with Ezreal's chest. The Archangel flew backward, crashing through buildings, through streets, finally stopping in a crater at the edge of the city. His armor was shattered. His divine light was flickering. Deku landed in front of him, battered and bleeding but still standing. "Leave," he said. "Take your forces. Go back to heaven. And tell whoever's in charge up there, Pentagram City is under my protection. If you come back, this happens again." Ezreal stared at him. For the first time, there was something other than certainty in the Archangel's eyes. You are not what I expected. Most people say that. This is not over. I know. But it's over for today. Deku extended a hand, an offer to help the fallen angel rise. You fought well. There's no shame in retreat. Ezreal looked at the offered hand. Something complicated passed across his face. He took it. Deku pulled the Archangel to his feet. Around them, the battle had stopped. Every angel, every demon, every soul in Pentagram City was watching. "I will recommend reconsideration," Ezreal said slowly. "Your anomaly may be examined differently. I'm not an anomaly. I'm just a guy who got a second chance and decided to use it. Perhaps." Ezreal turned toward the sky, where the portal still shimmered. "Perhaps that is enough." He rose into the air, his forces following. The celestial army retreated, vanishing through the gateway, leaving behind a battlefield littered with fallen and a city that had somehow survived. The portal closed. Silence. Then, slowly, a sound began to build. Cheering. Demons cheering, crying, celebrating survival. They had won. Against heaven itself, they had won. Deku fell to his knees, exhaustion finally catching up. He was immediately surrounded, Charlie and Rosie reaching him first, then Vaggie, Velvette, the others crowding around. "You did it," Charlie whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You actually did it." "We did it," Deku corrected. "All of us." "Yeah, but you were the one punching the Archangel." Angel's voice was shakier than usual. "Credit where it's due, Greenie." Rosie knelt beside him, examining his wounds with practiced concern. "You're hurt. Badly." "I'll heal." "You'd better." She kissed his forehead. "I didn't go through all this just to lose you now." "None of us did," Vaggie added quietly. Deku looked around at them, his family, his partners, his friends. The people who'd stood beside him against impossible odds. "Okay," he said, managing a smile despite the pain. "Someone help me up. We've got a city to rebuild." The aftermath of the Battle of Pentagram City was complex. Physically, the damage was enormous. Entire districts had been destroyed in the fighting. The death toll, such as it applied to already dead sinners, was significant. Rebuilding would take years. Politically, everything had changed. Deku's victory over Ezreal had accomplished what no amount of negotiation or manipulation could have. Every demon in Pentagram City knew that he had faced Heaven's champion and won. Every minor overlord who'd been on the fence immediately pledged support. Even those who had opposed him began seeking terms. Within a week, Deku controlled more territory than any single overlord in Hell's history. "You're going to need a title," Velvette informed him during a strategy meeting. "Something that conveys authority without being, gross." "What's wrong with just using my name?" "Nothing, except nobody can pronounce it right." She pulled up a holographic display of social media analytics. I've been running tests. The Green Overlord pulls pretty well. The Lightning Lord is popular with the younger demographics. The Hero of Hell gets the emotional resonance. How about just Deku? Velvette stared at him. That's actually kind of perfect. Short. Memorable. Already recognized. She started typing rapidly. Okay, rebranding campaign starts now. Deku, the Overlord who saved Hell. That's not what, too late. Already posted. You're trending. Deku sighed. Some things, apparently, couldn't be fought. The political consolidation was handled primarily by Rosie, who turned out to have a terrifying aptitude for bureaucratic manipulation. Within 3 weeks, she had established a functional government structure that incorporated all of Deku's territories, with representatives from each district and clear chains of command. You're building something that could last, she told him one evening, reviewing administrative reports in her office. Not just your lifetime, though in Hell, that's theoretically forever. Something that could survive even if you weren't here. That's the goal. It shouldn't depend on any one person. Very democratic of you. She smiled, setting aside her papers. Speaking of things that depend on you. She crossed to where he was sitting, straddling his lap with practiced grace. We should discuss the future. What about it? The personal future. Her hands rested on his shoulders. Charlie's already mentioned it. Vaggy's thinking about it. Even Velvette, in her chaotic way, has been dropping hints. Hints about what? Rosie's smile was patient. Children, darling. Heirs. The continuation of your bloodline. Deku felt his face heat up. That's the natural progression of what we've been building. She kissed him softly. You've created an empire. A family. The next step is ensuring it continues beyond us. We're in Hell. Is that even, how would that work? Demon biology is flexible. Souls in Hell can create new life, it's rare, but possible. And with someone like you. Her eyes gleamed. The children would be extraordinary. You want to have my children. I want to have your dynasty. She kissed him again, deeper. And yes, I want to carry your heirs. I've wanted that since I realized what you could become. Deku's brain was struggling to process this. But we've only known each other, a month and a half, yes. In human terms, that's nothing. In Hell terms, where time means less and power means everything, it's a lifetime. She pulled back slightly, expression serious. I'm not asking for an answer now. I'm asking you to think about it. About what kind of future you want to build. I'll think about it. Good. She smiled, her serious expression melting back into warmth. Now, shall we practice the process? Just to make sure we understand the mechanics. Despite everything, Deku laughed. You're terrible. I prefer motivated. Charlie brought up the same topic 2 days later, though in a very different way. They were walking through the rebuilt parts of the city, inspecting the rehabilitation centers that had been established in former Overlord territories. Charlie was practically glowing with enthusiasm. Her dream was finally becoming reality on a scale she'd never imagined possible. This is amazing, she said, watching former sinners learning new skills, working together, actually changing. I mean, look at them. They're really trying. You made this possible. We made it possible. All of us. She took his hand, interlacing their fingers. But it wouldn't have happened without you. Without everything you've done. It's not just me, I know. But you were the catalyst. The spark that started the fire. She stopped walking, turning to face him. Deku, I need to talk to you about something. Okay. I've been thinking about the future. About what we're building. And She took a deep breath. I want to have a family. With you. A real family. Deku felt the same strange mix of emotions as when Rosie had raised the topic. Charlie, I know it's a lot. I know we haven't been together that long. And I know there are others. She blushed but didn't look away. Rosie and I have talked. Vaggie and I have talked. Even Velvette, though that conversation was mostly her talking and me nodding. You've all discussed this. We had to. None of us want to compete. None of us want to force you to choose. Charlie squeezed his hands. We're all in this together. If you want us to be. And you're all okay with sharing. We're okay with being a family. However that looks. She smiled, that bright, impossible smile that made hell seem less dark. You brought us together. You made us believe in something. Why would we want to tear that apart over jealousy? This is a lot to process. I know. Take your time. She stepped closer, resting her head against his chest. I just wanted you to know how I feel. How we all feel. Whatever you decide, we'll support you. Deku wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. You're amazing, you know that. I've been told. She laughed softly. Usually right before someone explains why my dreams are impossible. They're not impossible. We're proving that every day. We are. She looked up at him. And I want to prove it even more. Build something that lasts. Create a family that shows the universe what's possible. Even in hell. Especially in hell. She kissed him, soft and sweet. That's the whole point. Vaggie's approach was characteristically direct. She found him on the training grounds, working through combat forms despite his injuries. She watched for a few minutes before stepping into the ring. Your left side is still weak. You're compensating. I know. It's healing. Heal faster. She attacked without warning, forcing him to defend. They sparred for several minutes, the familiar rhythm of combat filling the space between them. When they finally stopped, both breathing hard, she spoke. The others have talked to you. About children? Yes. What did you tell them? That I need time to think. Vaggie nodded. Fair. She paused. I never thought I'd want something like that. A family. Kids. The whole domestic thing. When I was an angel, reproduction wasn't even a concept. When I fell, I assumed that part of existence was over. And now? Now I'm standing in hell, talking to a man who punched an archangel, about having his babies. She laughed shortly. The universe is weird. That's one word for it. I'm not good at this, Vaggie said abruptly. Feelings. Vulnerability. Opening up. You know that. I know. But I'm trying. Because you make me want to try. She met his eyes. If you decide to do this, the family thing, I want to be part of it. Not because of politics or power or any of that crap. Because I want to be yours. Vaggie, I'm not finished. She stepped closer. I spent centuries killing sinners because heaven told me they were irredeemable. Then I met Charlie and learned they were wrong. Then I met you and learned that everything was possible. Her voice cracked slightly. If you can make a hero out of hell, you can make a family out of broken people. And I want to be one of those people. Deku pulled her into his arms. She stiffened initially, then relaxed, letting herself be held. You're not broken, he said. You're strong. You've survived things that would have destroyed most people. Strong people can be broken too. Then we heal together. He kissed the top of her head. All of us. That's what family means. Vaggie was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was thick. Okay. Okay, I'm in. Whatever that looks like. I'm in. Good. But I'm still going to kick your ass in training. I wouldn't have it any other way. Velvette's proposal came via group chat. Velvette, so we're all having babies with Deku, right? Charlie, we discussed this more romantically in person. Velvette, romance is for people with patience. Velvette, I have content to create. Velvette, speaking of which, pregnancy announcement videos are major engagement. Vaggie, please tell me you're not planning to livestream childbirth. Velvette. Vaggie, Velvette. Velvette, fine. Velvette, but I'm doing a series on demon pregnancy at minimum. Velvette, educational content. Rosie, I do appreciate your commitment to documentation. Velvette, see? Rosie gets it. Velvette, anyway the point is I'm in. Velvette, someone should tell Deku that his girlfriend count just went up again. Charlie, we should probably have this conversation in person. Velvette, where's the fun in that? Deku read the conversation on his phone, equal parts amused and overwhelmed. These were the women who'd chosen him. These were the people who wanted to build a life with him. It was terrifying. It was wonderful. It was completely insane. He loved it. Luna's involvement was less planned. The Hellhound had been orbiting Deku's circle since the battle, showing up at the hotel periodically, never quite admitting why. She was prickly, defensive, quick to insult and slow to open up. But she kept coming back. I'm not like them, she said one night, finding Deku alone on the hotel roof. The overlords and the princesses and all that. I'm nothing. You're not nothing. I'm a hellhound. I'm barely considered a person by most demons. She laughed bitterly. Do you know how rare it is for anyone to treat me like I matter? Then most demons are idiots. That's what I keep telling them. She sat beside him, closer than she'd ever voluntarily gotten. Why do you do it? Treat everyone like they're worth something. Because they are. Even me. Especially you. Deku turned to face her. Luna, I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what made you so convinced you don't matter. But I know you've been fighting to survive your whole existence, and I know that takes strength. Survival isn't the same as living. No. But it's a start. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he rested his hand on hers. You matter. To me. To this family we're building. If you want to be part of it. Luna stared at their hands. Something complicated moved behind her eyes. I don't know how to do, whatever this is. Neither do any of us. We're figuring it out together. That sounds messy. It is. It's also worth it. She was quiet for a long time. Then, slowly, she leaned against his shoulder. Okay, she said quietly. I'll try. But if you tell anyone I got emotional, I'll bite your hand off. Your secret's safe with me. Cherry's inclusion was almost accidental. Wait, you're doing the whole harem thing for real? She'd overheard a conversation between Rosie and Charlie, and burst into the room with characteristic subtlety. That's so cool. I want in. Charlie blinked. Not because of politics or power or whatever. Because Deku's like, the most fun person I've ever met. And also really hot. And also he doesn't treat me like I'm crazy, which is nice because I'm definitely crazy. Cherry, this is a serious commitment, I know. I'm serious. Well, I'm serious about wanting this. Everything else in my life is chaos, but this? She gestured vaguely at everything. This feels like something I could actually care about. You know. Charlie and Rosie exchanged glances. We should probably ask Deku, Charlie started. Already did. He said it was up to you guys. Cherry grinned. So. Am I in? There was a long pause. Welcome to the family, Rosie said finally. Please try not to blow anything up during dinner. No promises. The relationships deepened over the following weeks. Rosie's pregnancy was confirmed first. She announced it with characteristic elegance during a formal dinner, as if she were mentioning a minor business achievement. "I'm carrying our first heir," she said, sipping wine that was probably not actually wine. "The physicians confirm healthy development. Delivery is estimated in approximately 8 months." The table erupted in congratulations. Charlie actually squealed. Vaggie looked startled but pleased. Velvette immediately started planning content strategy. Deku just stared, reality finally catching up with him. He was going to be a father. In hell. With a cannibal overlord. His life had gotten very strange. "Breathe, darling," Rosie said, reaching across the table to pat his hand. "You look like you're going to faint." "I might." "Don't. It would be bad for morale." But her smile was warm. "Are you happy?" Yeah. I'm happy." He shook his head slowly. "I'm also terrified." "Good. That means you're taking it seriously." She stood, circling the table to stand beside him. "We're building something unprecedented. A family that spans the old divisions, the old hatreds. Our children will inherit a hell that actually functions. That's a lot of pressure to put on kids who aren't even born yet. They'll have the best possible parents to prepare them." She kissed his forehead. "Starting with their father, who literally punched heaven in the face for them. I punched heaven in the face before they existed. The sentiment stands." Charlie's pregnancy was confirmed 2 weeks later. She told Deku privately, in their shared quarters, her usual exuberance muted by genuine emotion. "I didn't think this was possible," she whispered. "I didn't think I could have this. A partner. A family. A future." Deku held her, letting her cry against his chest. "We're really doing this," he said. "Building something real. We are." She looked up at him, eyes bright. "Our baby is going to have so many aunts and uncles. And siblings. This is going to be the strangest, most wonderful family in all of hell. Probably in all the realms. Definitely in all the realms." She kissed him. "I love you. I love you too." It was the first time either of them had said it out loud. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. "Good," Charlie said, breaking into a watery smile. "Because you're stuck with me now. All of us. I wouldn't have it any other way." Velvette's announcement came via live stream, because of course it did. Hey hell. Big news. She was broadcasting from the hotel, phone held at an angle that somehow made her look both casual and perfectly composed. "Your girl's got a bun in the oven. That's right, I'm carrying the next generation of Deku Dynasty. Stick around for more updates as this exciting journey continues." The comments section exploded. Velvette just grinned at the camera, basking in the engagement. "You're impossible," Deku said from off-screen. "I'm innovative." She blew a kiss at him. "Now get over here. The viewers want a couple shot." The pregnancies progressed. So did the territory. Under Deku's leadership, though he still refused to call it an empire, Pentagram City transformed. The rehabilitation centers expanded, offering sinners genuine opportunities for improvement. The violence decreased, replaced by something approaching actual governance. Trade increased. Infrastructure improved. Even heaven noticed. A delegation arrived 3 months after the battle, not warriors, but diplomats. They met with Deku on neutral ground, delivering a message from Sarah herself. "The High Seraphim acknowledges your authority in the lower realms," the lead diplomat said, clearly uncomfortable. "We are prepared to discuss formal recognition of Pentagram City's autonomy." What does that mean practically? The annual exterminations will be reconsidered. A committee has been formed to evaluate alternative methods of population control. Your input would be valued. Deku stared at the angel. You're asking for my help deciding how to handle Hell's souls. We are acknowledging that the current system may be suboptimal. The diplomat swallowed. The events of recent months have prompted reflection in celestial circles. That's a lot of pauses. This is a difficult conversation. Deku leaned back, considering everything he'd fought for, the chance to actually change things, to prove that redemption was possible even in hell, was being offered to him officially. Okay, he said. Let's talk. The next 6 months were the busiest of Deku's existence. He balanced diplomatic negotiations with heaven against the daily challenges of running a growing territory. He managed relationships with a pregnant harem that had strong opinions about everything from nursery colors to political appointments. He trained new defenders, established new policies, and somehow found time to actually be present for the women carrying his children. Rosie gave birth first, a daughter with her mother's elegance and her father's green lightning flickering in her eyes. She's perfect, Rosie breathed, holding the infant in the hospital wing of the hotel. Absolutely perfect. Deku sat beside her, staring at the tiny creature they'd created. His daughter. His heir. The physical proof that he'd built something lasting in hell. What should we name her? Rosie smiled. I was thinking. Midori. It means green, doesn't it? It does. Then Midori she is. Rosie looked at him. Our daughter. The first of many. The first of many, Deku agreed. Charlie's delivery came a month later, twins, a boy and a girl who immediately began crying in harmony. They're musical already. Charlie laughed through exhausted tears. They're going to be performers. They're going to be whatever they want to be, Deku said, holding both infants awkwardly. I can barely handle one. How are there two? Morningstar genetics. We do everything dramatically. Charlie reached for her children. Give them here. You look like you're going to drop them. I'm not going to drop our children. The green lightning sparking around your hand suggests otherwise. He carefully transferred the twins to their mother, then collapsed into the chair beside her bed. We're really doing this, he said for what felt like the 100th time. We really are. Charlie's smile was radiant despite her exhaustion. Best decision I ever made. Marrying me or having twins? Both. She leaned over to kiss him. Definitely both. Velvette's delivery was, predictably, filmed. Educational content, she shouted during contractions. This is educational. The resulting video was viewed 3 million times in its first hour. The baby, a girl with Velvette's features and Deku's determination already visible in her tiny face, was named Pixel, because of course she was. She's going to run the media network someday, Velvette predicted, holding her daughter while checking engagement metrics on her phone. I can already tell. She's an hour old. Early start. Vaggi's pregnancy had been unexpected, she hadn't thought it was possible, given her angelic origins, but once confirmed, she'd approached it with characteristic intensity. Her son was born with wings. Holy shit, Angel Dust said, watching the infant flutter tiny feathered appendages. He's a hybrid. He's perfect, Vaggi corrected fiercely. He's ours. Deku held his son, his winged, miraculous son, and felt tears streaming down his face. His name is Hope, Vaggi said quietly. Because that's what you gave me. What you gave all of us. Hope, Deku repeated. It's perfect. Luna's pregnancy wasn't discovered until she was already showing. I didn't know, she protested when confronted by a very concerned Rosie. Hellhound biology is weird. I thought I was just eating too much. The baby, a girl with her mother's wolfish features and her father's green eyes, was born snarling and healthy. She's got attitude, Cherry observed. I like her. She's terrifying, Luna said proudly. Just like her mom. Cherry's delivery was accompanied by minor explosions. Not from the birth itself, though that was dramatic enough, but from the emotional discharge of a demon whose whole identity was built around chaos experiencing something as profound as creating life. Her daughter was born laughing. "That's my girl," Cherry whispered. Chaos from day one. The family grew. 7 children in the first year, with more potentially on the way. The hotel had to expand to accommodate everyone, eventually taking over an entire city block. Deku found himself surrounded by people who loved him, supported him, challenged him. His partners, his children, his extended family of reformed sinners and loyal allies. It was everything he'd never known he wanted. On the anniversary of his arrival in Hell, Deku stood on the roof of the hotel, now a proper compound, and looked out over the city he'd helped transform. Charlie joined him first, slipping her hand into his. Then Rosie, pressing against his other side. Vaggie stood behind him, hand resting on his shoulder. Velvette, Luna, and Cherry arranged themselves around the group, completing the circle. Below them, the children were being watched by Angel, Husk, and Nifty, the strange extended family that had formed around the hotel's original crew. "1 year," Charlie said softly. 1 year since you fell out of the sky and changed everything." "I didn't change everything. We did." Still taking credit for group achievements, Velvette teased. "Some things never change." "Some things do," Rosie countered. "Look at what we've built. What we've become." Deku looked. At his partners, his family, his city. At the life he'd created in a realm of eternal damnation. "You know," he said slowly, "when I died, I thought that was it. End of the story. Everything I'd fought for, everyone I'd loved, gone. But instead..." Vaggie prompted. "Instead I got a second chance. A family. A future." He pulled them all closer, green lightning sparking between them like a physical manifestation of their bond. "I got everything I ever wanted. Just, not where I expected to find it." "That's hell for you," Luna muttered. "Full of surprises." "The best kind of surprises," Charlie corrected. "The ones that make everything worth it." Below them, Midori's first attempts at walking were sending small lightning bolts across the courtyard. The twins were singing. Pixel was grabbing at things. Hope was floating. The others were creating chaos in their own unique ways. The future Deku had built with these women. The dynasty they'd created together. "So," Cherry said, breaking the contemplative moment. "Same time next year." "Same time every year," Deku agreed. "For eternity. That's a long time. Good thing I've got good company." He kissed each of them in turn, Charlie's sweetness, Rosie's elegance, Vaggie's intensity, Velvette's energy, Luna's reluctant tenderness, Cherry's chaos. His family. His legacy. His future. Not bad for a kid who'd been told he could never be a hero. Not bad at all. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.